gotta go. I'll get my car.
What mine?
Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Batdan's fundraiser live stream. This has been a hard time for us in Soul Nation, for us in the Mikeyverse, for everyone who's been a big Snyderverse community. We lost a very important person to us, Mikey Sutton, Scooper Supreme. This is a little bit harder than I thought it'd be, honestly. And I'm gonna tell my guests backstage, and if I end up bringing up on people later, we'll see. It's okay to cry on this stream. It's okay to tear up on this stream. Mikey Sutton was taken from us way too soon. I'll get more into this later towards the end, but I owe so much to Mikey Sutton. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have met all these great people who I'm about to bring this person back on my show. So what I wanted to do today was I want to do a special stream to honor Mikey Sutton. We're going to talk about what he meant to us. That's definitely going to come up. But I also wanted to cover some geek-related topics because it's what Mikey Sutton loved to do. And to be honest, I meant to do the Rebel Moon video. I meant to record a Rebel Moon video, and with Mikey Sutton's death, I'll be honest, I fell behind on some things. So I'm also kind of using this to kind of cover some topics that I want to cover. So just want to say hi to people real quick. Hey, Neil Sevens, Socks, Zod Rider, what up, man? Dennis, I think that's Qatar. Music City Soul, what up, man? Hold on, let me just make some people. Let me just give someone a wrench here real quick. And I won't keep my guests waiting too much longer. So you've seen him on my channel before. I brought him on for some Flash conversation and Blue Beetle conversation. Someone who recently has joined Soul Nation in the Mikeyverse, but it feels like he's been with us forever. So please welcome Josh Herrera.
Hey, everybody. Shout out to everyone in the Mikeyverse. Oh, man. You were, hearing you talk, kind of just that intro about Dan, it just, you kind of start not forgetting about it, but it kind of is like, okay, I can do this. And then you start thinking about the man and it starts getting you right here. So I thank you for doing this fundraiser. Like you said, we're going to be talking about entertainment, but it's all because of Mikey Sutton, because he loved this stuff. He loved pop culture, you know, like you said, these are geeky topics, and Mikey Sutton's company, his magazine is Geekosity Magazine. So, you know, the first few days of shock, I think it was like, you know, I didn't know, you know, how we were as a community going to continue, but I think this is kind of the best way we can, is to talk about stuff that Mikey enjoyed. He enjoyed all of this stuff that we're about to talk about, conversating with this community. And, you know, please, if you can, guys, right now, the family is, you know, just kind of blindsided by this loss. So the GoFundMe, as Bat Dan has linked, is in the description in the chat. So if you can, please consider donating. I know it's the end of the month right now. I myself, I'm waiting on a paycheck, but as soon as, you know, payday happens, the first of the month, I will be donating. And if you can, and you have the means, you know, please just even share the GoFundMe link to anybody that was touched by Mikey Sutton. And please keep his family and friends in this community in your hearts right now.
Definitely. And I think we actually have a family member of Mikey Sutton in the chat right now. Vanessa, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're his niece, right?
I believe so. I believe that's. Hi, Vanessa. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We would love to, you know, just continue to honor your uncle, if that is indeed your uncle, I believe. Mikey Sutton is just an awesome person who we all felt like was family to us, but you are actually family, and we just keep you in our hearts right now, and our hearts and prayers go out to y'all during this time of mourning and, you know, sadness. So
Well said, Josh. Very, very well said. And I echo that same sentiment. We really appreciate you coming on. Your uncle, and I'm going to say uncle until someone corrects me otherwise, meant a. Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, your uncle meant the world to us, and we'll definitely go in a lot more detail at the end about how much he really meant to us. And we really appreciate you stopping by for this. Just your uncle was an amazing man. And guys, the fundraiser is to help out her family, help out Mikey Sutton's family, pay for funeral expenses, pay for medical expenses. I have the link pinned in the chat, and if you're watching on replay, it's in the description. And yes, Zodwriter, we are very sorry for your loss. Yeah, thanks. Thanks again for coming on, and we really appreciate it.
I think it's the best way to honor him, right? Is to like continue talking about the stuff that he was such a fan of and passionate about. I think all these topics will find a way to link back to Mikey Sutton and what, you know, he thought about these topics and how much he cared for them and this community. So we're here for y'all right now.
Exactly. And we got the Bat channel. Thanks you, Trey, for stopping by.
Hey, Trey.
And we got Sickness in the chat. What up, Sickness? Let me see. So just so people know, if this is your first time coming in the chat, if I'm slightly distracted, I'm making a lot of people who I trust mods, including you, Vanessa. You are now a mod on this channel as well. So you have authority to ban any comments on this stream.
Give her the power. She's family. She's family, Vanessa.
And it's weird. I see Sickness I'm trying to make Sickness a mod too. I see him in StreamYard, but I don't see him in YouTube. So if you make another comment, I'll look for you and make you a mod. So guys, again, we could go on for this part for what up, Super Roll Corey? Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, Mikey Verse forever. If you don't know, that hashtag, I believe, was created by the good Austin, correct?
Yes.
MV4E, Mikey Verse
forever. As well as this logo.
Yeah, the logo as well. And I wanted to give just a brief shout out. I just got a message from the good Austin. I saw what was going on in Florida. He's fine right now, but unfortunately he suffered the loss of a family member today that was really close to him. So much love and condolences to the good Austin. He said to me that he, you know, a second family member this week has died because he considered Mikey a family member as well. So he's going through it right now. So stay strong, everyone. You know, protect each other, keep each other close, hug your loved ones, tell them how much they mean to you, because you know, this life is all we got, and we gotta give the flowers while the people are alive. You know, and we're gonna do that for Mikey here as well. But I think he knew how much he was loved while he was alive as well.
Yeah, he did. He knew very well. We always made sure to make it clear how much we all really cared about him. And I'm gonna be honest, there's the reason why I decided to end on the Mikey Sutton topic, because there's no real non-awkward way to transition from this to Rebel Moon teaser trailer. So you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just going to just transition. And guys, again, I will every transition I'm gonna remind you, please donate. The link is in the description. Just $1 a day, just $1 from everyone is what I mean to say, will make all the difference. So
Yes. I've had to organize a GoFundMe for a tragedy that happened in my own family, and you know, when you're blindsided by this, you know, it means the world to a family member that somebody, a complete stranger, would be able to open up their wallets to help. So definitely, just at least share that in if you can, and we will honor Mikey. And you know what, Mikey loved this Rebel Moon teaser trailer from the reaction that I remember. So let's honor him and talk about something that he was passionate about.
I could definitely tell this was meant to be Star Wars at a certain point. Is that, I mean, you literally had lightsabers. I mean, those were 100% lightsabers in the trailer. But right off the bat, though, the music, the epic score, it's Junkie XL who's composing this, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my freaking God. That score was just so epic and amazing.
And it definitely, so I'm going to try to, you know, of these topics, you know, I can't help but think of Mikey and what his perspective was. But I think the reason he probably liked it was it just gave you that epic, grandiose feeling that old school Star Wars original trilogy gave you, right? Like with so many homages to other works like Gladiator and, you know, Star Wars, even Owls of Gahul. I was kind of getting a little bit of that from Zack Snyder's own. Like this sci-fi epic is just not going to be on a whole nother level. And I think Mikey recognized that. He was like, wow, this is, you know, this is something special. I had chills. I don't know the first time how you watched it, but I literally tuned into YouTube at the Gamescom stream right as Zach was on stage. So I missed like the beginning introduction when he got on there, but he was introducing it and I was like pumped and I just got chills. I was watching it on my iPad, which I shouldn't have done, but I just got chills up and down. And I wonder if Mikey had the same reaction because it was epic. What did you think about it?
Well, I loved it. You know, right after work, I turned on my TV and I fanboyed out. I've just the whole show, just like the cinematography, the beautiful imagery. Like one thing Zack Snyder is great is the imagery. Like the beginning, we just see like the fields of grass, or I can't forget her name, Sophia Boutel's character. She like the way she like pets that griffin.
Mm-hmm.
Just like really great imagery right there. And actually, Josh, I do have a secret I'll tell you in the back chat that I'm not going to tell you live, but just go on while I do that.
Yeah. No, the thing that really for me just started, you hear that dong, you know, how the teaser opens, having Anthony Hopkins, who you don't necessarily see, but you know who that is. You're like, oh, I know this voice. But that just having him introduce the teaser and voiceover is just kind of sets how I think the epicness of the movie and the world will be going forward. And that cast was amazing. Like I've heard some people talk about before this teaser came out, like, oh, you know, none of these people are really like Cora. Yeah, Cora.
Cora, that's what it
Cora
is.
is
Thanks.
the main character, Sophia Boutella. And you definitely got that. You can tell that Zach, you know, although he developed this, I think, in film school, possibly 20 years ago, or 20 years, I don't know, 20 years is what he said, I think. I'm not sure if it was an idea in film school and then he started working on it 20 years after that, or 20 years from now. But the, oh, wow, the singing is, wow, I didn't know that. That man is somebody who I think Zack Snyder is going to highlight in the best way. Damon Hansu, he is just such. I saw him recently in Gran Turismo, and he's not in it a bunch, but like seeing it right after the Rebel Moon trailer came out, I think I saw Gran Turismo when the Rebel Moon trailer had just came out, and I was like, oh man, it just got me so hyped. Like all these ancillary characters who are surrounded by Korra. What I was getting at earlier was that Zach, I think, understood what Star Wars was about. Star Wars is about, in my opinion, archetypes, right? But also creating characters that you that complement each other, but also that they're so mysterious that you want to know more about them. And I think that's the thing that this trailer did, where there's a huge cast of characters. It's all centered around Korra and her Luke Skywalker-esque journey, which I think is going to be hinted at. But she has a past, obviously, as somebody who worked for, I guess, the Empire, similar to Finn, I would say, from the sequel trilogy. But then she rebels. She becomes a rebel. And the Rebel Moon is what we will be seeing. But yeah, that's what, right, Dennis? Like, that's what Zach, I think, understood, is that trailer, from what I understand, is both movies, part 1 and part 2 put together.
Yeah,
He
yes.
gave us that world. It wasn't just like one character story. It wasn't just Korra. It was centered around her, right? But you're getting everything that comes with Korra, the world that occupies Korra. And that's what blew me away, was like, wow. And I think that's probably what Mikey even respected about this trailer, him with his own project and his own universe, right?
Yeah.
He has a cast of characters on all his own too. And so he probably saw how creative his mind worked. And I think that's why he respects Zack Snyder as an artist. So I still watch it and I still get chills. Like the music is what gets it for me. But I can't wait to learn about the cast, like the cast of characters.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to learn so much more about them too, because there's like different people who, like, there's different stories I'm curious about. Like it looks like there's two people. I don't know if I'm totally getting this wrong, but it looks like they're like two opposite sides of the war. Like you see them kissing each other, and I don't know why I got the vibe that there's something about it that makes it seem like they're supposed to be fighting on two different sides. And I could have this completely wrong, but it's just like a weird instinct I have. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it's.
No, you're right. I mean, that's a very Shakespearean trope or storyline, but it's something that is timeless, right? The star-crossed lovers. We saw that recently in our watch along for Justice League animated series with the Cell campaign, members at the cool table, and so Syndicate Network, and that played out with Green Lantern and Hot Girl. That's something that just always kind of works when love is a very powerful emotion. That's why we're all here. We love things. We love Mikey Sutton. We love these properties. We love being geeks, and we love this community. So, when you love something, it's kind of hard to like stay over here, stay over there. But I kind of got that too. So I think you're onto something, Bat Dan.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. And see, I think the princess is Korra. I got the impression that the princess was Korra. The Princess Ether, I think, is Korra, because I think she's the one. See, here's the interesting thing. I think Korra is kind of like a combination of Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker. Because remember, in Star Wars, the prophecy, Anakin was the one to bring balance to the Force, which he did when he permanently killed the Emperor, who does not come back to life. When he did that, he brought balance to the Force. So like that's kind of like there's like that similar prophecy that Korra has. Only I have a feeling that her personality is going to be more like Luke Skywalker, more like a wise teacher who doesn't try to kill his or her nephew. But you guys notice I throw a lot of shade at the sequel trilogies. For the record, I do like Disney Star Wars, but I don't love everything about Disney Star Wars. And the one thing I don't love is the sequel trilogy. And we'll later on get into something that personally I love about Disney Star Wars, but still a lot to say with the Rebel Moon trailer is that Ray Porter. I didn't realize that Ray Porter was going to be in this movie.
Oh, you
And
did it?
no, I mean it sounds kind of familiar, but there's so much announcement, I guess, that
Yeah, he mentioned it on a stream that I was watching, but yeah, just seeing his face as somebody who met the person at Full Circle, and this guy is just 100% just a sweet person for somebody who's playing the Lord himself of Apocalypse, Darkseid. It's such a testament to his acting because he not only does the body, movement, but also the voice, right? He's such a great just actor in general, but also a voiceover narrator that voiceover actor, he transforms himself. And so I kind of like that you're seeing the actual Ray Porter a little bit in that little short clip of him. I don't want any trouble, So I'm excited to see what his role is. And I love seeing the man on screen because he's a great actor. I even watched, although the show wasn't that great, I watched him and Naomi in the season finale, and I was just got a kick out of that. I was like, that's great. That's Darkseid. So I want to see more of him. And I think that this cast will continue to include a lot of Snyderverse people going forward. So
yeah, which, one for sure is that Ray Fisher, who, it's funny, like Ray Porter is someone that we actually got to see as himself, looking like himself for the first time. Whereas Ray Fisher, I said Ray Porter the first time, right? It's two Rays, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
But Ray Porter's,
I know.
So Ray Fisher is the one who doesn't look like himself, because if I didn't already see pictures of Ray Fisher's look beforehand, I never would have known that was Ray Fisher in the trailer. That blink and you miss it with the long hair, blood axe. That's Ray Fisher's character. I would, and it's a blink and you miss it. I never would have recognized. The only reason I knew it was Ray Fisher was because of photos that were leaked behind the scenes. Otherwise, I'm like, that's Ray Fisher?
Yeah, if we wouldn't have known, right? Like beforehand, same. Like, and it's hard. Like, if you have to like pause it, like zoom in because he's kind of far away. But I think there's an instinct that I have that this character, that Blood Axe, Damian Blood Axe, I think is what his name is. And he will be, I think his sister is Nemesis, the one, or maybe not, the one with the lightsabers or the swords. But he's gonna definitely be a character who has a mysterious, yes, Dennis, he is, in the trailer. He's kind of has a mysterious mystique about him, and I think it's by design by Zach, right? So Ray Fisher is an amazing actor. I got to meet him. Also briefly, he was sitting behind me at Full Circle Snyderverse. So I get to say hello, but he's just a great actor. He was in Women of the Movement recently on Hulu is where I watched it. And he needs to be showcased. And so I've never seen him in a role like this, playing this savage rebel, who takes no prisoners. But I'm excited to see Ray kind of do something completely different than his cyborg. I'm trying to see where Cyborg is. There he is, right there.
I think we have the same shirt, just
We
different.
do. Yeah, the one and only Noel
Yeah.
Leon Flores' artwork right here. Mikey loved these shirts, by the way, and because his artist from Dreamwalker, made these shirts and contributed to this fundraiser for AFSP. So we had to, honor him by showing off some of the artwork.
Exactly. And for me, it works out well because we're talking Star Wars with, I'm saying Rebel Moon because it's Zach's Star Wars, and then we'll talk Ahsoka later on. So that's the Star Wars for me, and then we'll talk DC. So I got this shirt. So
it's all tied together, right? Like, I think Mikey liked that, mythic quality about art and entertainment, and all of these stories are very mythic in scope. So
you know what's funny though? I kind of want to bring this up since we're talking about Zack Snyder's version of Star Wars. I always thought that Zack's DC universe was very similar to Star Wars in some ways, because in with the DC Snyderverse, you have 5 films that you can watch by themselves without anything else, and it makes sense. I mean, assuming that I'm just gonna say the pentalogy still, because until we get some announcement and they change it, as far as I'm concerned, the main story's still a pentalogy until we hear otherwise. So that's the way I'm gonna look at it, just for clarifying to people in the chat. And actually, you know what? Yeah, there is a topic that it's not an official topic on this panel, but there's actually a topic coming later on that this will definitely relate to. Like, I have a feeling that we'll go on to all sorts of different stuff. So yes, Dennis, I don't remember exactly what the tweet said, but I have an idea of what it said. But anyway, I want to get back to how Zach's story, in one way, is like, yeah, you have the pentalogy where you can watch as an independent story and nothing else, but it also works as an expanded universe with spin-offs, with the Batfleck movie, the Ayer cut, I don't know if I would say Man of Steel 2 as a spin-off, because Henry Cavill's the main character, so I don't know if it's really a spin-off for him. But the point is, yeah, all these other spin-offs. Wonder Woman 2017, The Flash, the Muschietti cut of The Flash, because to me that's the Snyderverse, not, even though we both liked the film we got, I would still argue that to me the Snyderverse version of that film is the unseen Muschietti cut. So we'll get into that later on. But the other way that the Snyderverse, the DC Snyderverse, and Star Wars are the same is that the arc centers around the rise, fall, and redemption of a character. In Star Wars, you have Anakin learning to be a Padawan, rising to be a Jedi, falling to be Darth Vader, and then redeeming himself at the end. Superman, rise to become the hero that we all know, falls when he succumbs to the anti-life equation, and redeems himself after he snaps out of it. So, another very similar thing right there. Again, I don't know if that was intentional of Zack Snyder, but yeah.
It has to be Bat Dan, because like Dennis is saying, like Snyder and George Lucas, I think it was George Lucas who explained that Star Wars is like poetry and it rhymes. And look at Zack Snyder, what he does in all of his films. There are so many callbacks from what we see in Man of Steel. There are shots that are once again reflected in Batman v Superman. There are similar shots that are reflected in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And it's that same kind of mentality that Zack homages things that came before. And, the way Superman is shot. I saw like GIFs randomly on Twitter. And, I was just like, I love seeing that, how Zack kind of uses shots very similarly in different movies. And it's a callback to make you visually remember that epic journey that we have gone on. And he basically tied these in. Right now it is a trilogy. We're hoping to get more, which is why we have these shirts. But essentially it was formatted as something to be epic, like a Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, or something like a, epic that all flows together and all ties together as one succinct storyline. Yeah, it is it is very much like that. And Zack, that's Star Wars is one of the motivations that Zack cites in his, I think it was a Variety interview that happened when Army of the Dead came out. Star Wars, when he sat down with the Russo brothers, he talked about it, what it meant to him. So you can see that when I interviewed Mikey on my YouTube show, he cited, I think he was, gosh, I forget how old he was, but he was there for Star Wars or A New Hope. Star Wars A New Hope when it came out.
Back when it was just called Star Wars.
Back when it was, in 1977, 78?
One of those 2 years.
77, yeah. So he would have been, I think, 7. I think he would have been 7 when Star Wars came out. So imagine that. Imagine being a 7-year-old watching, at that time, something as revolutionary as Star Wars, where a universe came to you and was shown on screen. There was a villain. You didn't know his story. There was a hero on a, farm planet. Yep, 77. And it was so overwhelming, I bet, for Mikey. but also in an exciting way. Like, I got to know more. I got to, read the novels and, check out this comics. And as Mikey was a big comic book fan. So I bet Zach was inspired the same way that Mikey was. And I think maybe Mikey probably recognized that in Zach. There was a kindredness that Zach had with George Lucas.
I thought of something too. Wouldn't it be something because we know Zack Snyder's not going to direct every single project in the Rebel Moon universe. Could you imagine if Zack Snyder got George Lucas to direct a project?
That would be amazing. I mean, the world, I can already hear the comments and like, I think it would erupt on the socials. So yeah, that would be amazing. You never know. Zach's doing his own Star Wars, and we will talk about Disney Star Wars here in a second. But right now, what you have on streaming right now, and just a little teaser of what I'm seeing, I'm just like, wow, Zach, Zach, you're doing something. Yes, is it derivative? Of course, yes, it is. He's kind of admitted that, but it's his version, and with no holds barred, something that does not really exist at Lucasfilm Disney, from what I understand. Clark redeemed Earth by bringing around. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Both heroes failed. Yep. Very true. It's very similar. That classic superhero's journey that Joseph Campbell's superhero journey. That's what you learn in literary school. That I remember. So perfectly honest with you, I never grew up with Star Wars. Like my parents, it wasn't a big deal for them. So I remember I was in an English class in 6th grade, and I learned about the hero's journey, and they cited Luke Skywalker, and that's how I kind of knew about the journey of the character. And Zach definitely used that as well. And so I can't wait to see that in Rebel Moon.
Monique, are you also a niece of Mikey Sutton?
Goes first introduced. Oh wow, in 78. So yeah, he mentioned to me that he saw Superman 1978. So I would imagine not only Star Wars, but also Superman, the Christopher Reeves, the first one, Superman the movie. He saw that in theaters. So he saw 2 iconic films that both follow that superhero's journey of Joseph Campbell. So he's privy, Mikey, I assume, was privy to that type of epic storytelling and that classicness of it. So I can imagine what it was like for him to see Superman on the big screen. I actually got to see that at the 45th anniversary this year, and it's a great movie. We have a lot of, as Snyderverse fans, we like, okay, you let go of the past, and that's fine. Like, we have a new Superman now, but that movie at the time was revolutionary, and I can only imagine what Mikey felt seeing that as a kid.
Thanks, Monique, for stopping by and for it's streamer. Okay, there we are. Yeah, thank you for coming in and giving us more insight. We really love, again, this whole stream is to honor Mikey Sutton, so we really appreciate you stopping by and letting us know a little bit more about him.
Yeah, we consider Mikey our family member, so that's awesome to know that your father got him into his love of comics that made him probably inspired to do his own comics. So shout out to your father.
And just so everyone knows, all family members of Mikey Sutton, I'm going to make mods on my channel. So every single one of you, if you come in and let me know your family, I'll actually be careful how I say that, because I don't want people pretending. I'll verify a little bit, because I know there'll be some asshole who's going to pretend at a certain point, but you'll all be mods on my channel, where you'll have authority to be immune from being banned, and you will be allowed to ban anyone who comes in and says anything inappropriate. So
we're here to honor Mikey by talking about all this geekiness. So we are here to help support you guys. We're trying to spread awareness for the GoFundMe. The link is in the description, guys. Please remember to consider donating, or at least share it on all your social media platforms, because the family, they're dealing with a lot right now. And so we are honored that y'all would come, just kind of talk about geeky stuff that Mikey loved, and we're happy to have you here as part of our family as well.
Well said, Josh. Well said. And thank you, Monique. Thank you. Because, the internet's a dangerous place. And before I wrap up this Rebel Moon topic, I want to kind of talk about some of the scoops that Mikey brought up. Two big scoops he brought up with yes, thank you, Neil Sevens. And also, if you're watching on replay, in the description, and it's also pinned in the chat as well. But I want to talk about the fact that, in fact, the last Scoop Center that he had with Sil, he mentioned Henry Cavill's role in Rebel Moon, that he's going to basically be a Han Solo type character, and that just feels so perfect for Henry Cavill, because you think about like Geralt of Riviera. He was kind of like that similar type of character where he's an anti-hero. He's not like a complete goody two shoe like Superman is, but at the same time, but he still cares about people deep down, but also is a badass, someone you don't want to f with. And I'll say this again. I put it in the Sills chat, but if Henry Cavill is in this, Zack Snyder, please make Henry Cavill do his natural British accent. That role sounds so perfect for his British accent. I want that British accent.
It would be cool. It would be different, right? To hear him speak that as a. I think Mikey described it as a Han Solo Lando type. So that like scoundrel, but that Lando part makes me wonder if like, ooh, is there going to be like some kind of suaveness to, and Han Solo had suaveness as well. They both did, Lando and Han Solo. So that would be interesting. There was a little bit of suaveness for Geralt as well from the Witcher series on Netflix. But yeah, Mikey was great at announcing things way in advance. So he loved to drop little things and tidbits. And hearing that Superman joining Zack Snyder's Star Wars, right? That's something to get excited about. So fingers crossed that it works out. And I can't wait to see this universe be populated by a lot more Snyderverse actors.
Like Gal Gadot is another one that I think Mikey mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But one that really stood out to me, and we're both fans of this actor too, is when Mikey said, like, after the Flash movie, is that Zach wants to bring Ezra Miller on to the Rebel Moon franchise, which, for those of you who don't know, Josh and I are both big fans of Ezra Miller, have been very supportive of Ezra Miller through all the controversy, all the fake headlines, which another shout out to Mikey Sutton is that they didn't prop those BS headlines as fact. They're willing to give us the bad news when it was directed towards bad news regarding Ezra Miller, which I always appreciated. I appreciated the honesty that he had, but he didn't jumping into all these allegations. And one thing I really like is that Zack Snyder wants the fact that Mikey reported that he wants to bring Ezra Miller onto Rebel Moon just makes me so happy, because I worried about Ezra Miller after the Flash movie, and after that didn't do well. But the fact that Ezra will likely have a career on Netflix with working with with my favorite director. I don't know, but in at least one of your favorite directors, Josh, that made me really happy. And plus, if you get Henry, Gal, Ezra all on Netflix, the two Rays, Fisher and Porter are on there.
We're getting the Snyderverse one way or another. That's what's happening. I love,
anything you want to kind of expand on what I said, or anything else you want to kind of say to wrap up this Rebel Moon topic before we go to what's officially Star Wars?
I'm so excited to meet the Jimmy character. I have a Jimmy Rebel Moon shirt on its way from Target, and I just have a feeling I love droids in Star Wars. They are characters, and I think that's kind of like, I think this Jimmy is going to be it's not going to be like I don't think it's going to be like a Star Wars droid. It is going to be a machine. And to know that Sir Anthony Hopkins, legendary, iconic actor, is part of this project just gives it so much levity, that I can't imagine what the script is like if he read that and was like, oh yeah, because it kind of is like his story. He's the one telling this mythic. He's chronicling Korra's journey and this world that he lives in. So I think it's going to be interesting to learn about his character's backstory. So I'm excited for that. And this cast is like epic. Like you've seen, Ed Skrein from, like, most people probably know him from Deadpool or Game of Thrones. Damon Hansu. I know him mostly from Blood Diamond, but he's been in so many things. Shazam movies, he was in Gran Turismo. So many. And he mentioned before, Damon, that nobody has really utilized him for his worth. And I bet Zack Snyder saw that interview and was like, "Oh, I got something for you." So I think Zack, in the hands of Zack, he's gonna be, when you see him doing that 300, this is Sparta reference kick, I'm like, this guy's gonna be somebody not to mess with. So I'm excited to see everybody in this movie.
Same here. Zack Snyder has a knack for getting unknown talent, finding unknown talent and make them stars, and I have no doubt Rebel Moon's gonna do that for a lot of actors as well. So there's so much great stuff to look forward to with Rebel Moon. I swear I could have the whole stream just about Rebel Moon, but there's a lot of topics, and now we're gonna kind of go on to what's officially Star Wars. And for the record, I don't hate all of Disney Star Wars. There's a lot of Disney Star Wars I really love, like the Ahsoka series. And just as we transition topics, just a reminder, people, that the link to the GoFundMe page is just gonna it's pinned in the chat. It's pinned in the chat. It's too far up at this point, but go find if you haven't donated, please, just $1 a day. Just $1 per. I don't know why I keep saying $1 a day. I feel like it's an expression or something. I don't know. But just $1 per person makes a huge difference for Mikey Sutton's family. So
and I think Sil Abdul had mentioned he's going to have a stream tomorrow. He's going to be doing like shout outs to people who donate that. So if you have any messages or words that you want to share with Mikey's family, please do that in the GoFundMe page and your donation descriptions. Make sure to include, what Mikey meant to you, so those can be shared, because he's a special person and we want to share that with the family.
If this was not a charity stream for Mikey Sutton, this would have been the pinned comment. But
here we go. Here we go.
We won't start that. And just so you know, I normally don't like to spoil the topics, but I'm going to spoil a little bit. So there'll be 2 Ahsoka topics. So we're going to do all spoilers on episodes 1 and 2. Normally, I would do episode 3. Episode 3 would have been a spoiler since it's been out for a day right now. With everything that's been going on with Mikey Sutton, I understand that not everyone will have caught up. So put it like this. So episode 3 will be spoiler light, though minor spoilers, nothing huge. But episodes 1 and 2 will be full-on spoilers. And I need to mention this before I forget. Ahsoka would not be alive today if it was not for the brave, heroic clone Fives, who almost exposed Order 66 and the inhibitor chips that made the clones commit the act against the Jedi unwillfully. Just to clarify, the clones had inhibitor chips in their brains. That's why they did it. But Fives, while no one believed him, Rex kind of did deep down, which gave his commander Rex, which gave him just a brief moment to warn Ahsoka about Fives before fully succumbing to the inhibitor chip, which helped Ahsoka find out about Fives, rescue Rex, who helped Ahsoka escape the clones. So Ahsoka would not be alive today if it wasn't for Fives. Hashtag justice for Fives.
Justice for Fives. Agreed.
Don't worry, minor spoiler. So, did I say Rebels? I meant to say Clone Wars. If I said Clone War. Oh yeah. So, yeah. No, there may. We'll see about how much we spoil Rebels. I mean, the Ahsoka series spoils Rebels a lot, but
yeah. So, Qatar, you might, just heads up. We'll probably be talking about Clone Wars and Rebels stuff, since they are kind of hinted at in this.
Yeah, like I'm curious, Josh, have you seen Rebels?
So yeah, just let me preface. I've been in a weird space where ever since like the James Gunn announcement that Henry Cavill was not going to be continuing as Superman, I've been in this weird space where I've been watching movies theatrically, but I haven't really been motivated to sit down and watch streaming content. And I don't know why. But hearing Mikey was very excited about the show. He was really hyped about it. So when you invited me to participate in this memorial tribute stream for him, I thought about, Mikey's hype for this show. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this for Mikey and get on board. And so I kind of watched it with like trying to put myself in his perspective and in shoes and what he thought of it. But yes, I watched all of Star Wars. It actually all of the
All is-
expanded universe, because after I'm one of those, I did not really like The Last Jedi. I know. I understood what it was going for and the subversion of it, but it really did kind of start killing my hype for the next movie of the sequel trilogy. So the Filoni verse honestly saved Clone Wars,
Yeah.
specifically saved me as a Star Wars fan. Really just reminded me of how much. I will say I did watch the 2008 animated Star Wars movie where Ahsoka was introduced, and I hated that character. Hated Ahsoka. I was like, that snips. That snips. Just her attitude, you know. So I kind of pushed Clone Wars to the side out of my mind. I was like, I didn't like this character in the movie, you know. But let's be honest, that movie was intentioned for a younger audience. So introducing a young teenage Padawan who Anakin was training, you're supposed to kind of be annoyed with her because she was like a little sister type, right? We talked about little sisters last time on our Blue Beetle spoiler review.
Yeah.
As somebody who has a sister, I kind of related to that. So rewatching after The Last Jedi 2018, I think that's when it came out, I dove into Clone Wars and started understanding why she was so annoying as you journey through the evolution of this character, Ahsoka Tano, the secret Padawan that we didn't know about. You know, we didn't know about that Anakin had a Padawan. Hey, Necron, how's it going, buddy? And so
Hello,
I
Necron.
as soon as I was done with Clone Wars, Rebels for me, like I loved Clone Wars, but Rebels was just like, because I found out Lando had showed, spoilers, Lando Calrissian shows up in it, Leia, Darth Vader, and I was like, wait, they're in
James
this?
Earl Jones,
James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. And
who
so
fights Ahsoka. James Earl Jones and
that,
Ahsoka
that's
fight
what
each other.
that's when I found out. But when I found out that, like, I was gonna give it a break, like I was like, okay, I just finished Clone Wars, and I was like, wait, hold on. It was like going. I think in 2018, it was Rebels was still going. I think, or maybe it had ended. I can't remember. But something I watched a clip or something, and I was like, wait, Darth Vader and Ahsoka are so I was like, yes. And so seeing that journey, I have seen some people say that they're thrown off by Ahsoka's portrayal in this show, but if you watch Rebels, I think it's pretty consistent in her
Yeah.
journey, right?
I mean, we're not the same people as we were when we were younger. I mean, if you look at, I mean, she's put like this. She's not Ahsoka. She's not Ahsoka from Clone Wars, but she's definitely Rosario Dawson is definitely Ahsoka from Rebels because that's the grown-up Ahsoka who's learned to fight, who's fought her master. And I think in in Mandalorian, in Mandalorian season 2.5, because that's what that show really was. Uh, Rosario Dawson was just a great, like, really portrayed the same Ahsoka, did a really good job portraying the same Ahsoka, the actress, her voice actress. I forget her name, Ashley something, I
Actually,
think.
Eckstein, I think.
Actually, they, she does a very good job portraying that same character. And and in this series, it's no exception. And just, you know, and I definitely think, you know, Josh and I are both Rebels fans. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'll be honest, kind of watching this, I am kind of one concern I have with the series is people who haven't watched Rebels. There's so many moments where people are going to get confused. Like,
Who is
it's
Ezra?
like
Why do we care about Ezra?
Ezra Bridger, by the way, just to clarify, since there's
The
another
main character from Rebels.
from yes. So basically, brief recap is that Grand Admiral Thrawn was this strategic empire. He's the strategic imperial. He's the only alien to be like this high ranking in the very racist empire. And because he was smart, he was someone who had a plan that was going to outdo the Death Star, but only didn't if it for one of his subordinates' incompetence. And then eventually what happens is Ezra uses space whales called Purgle, which if you saw episode 3, those things, again, minor spoilers, will
They're in
be
the
in.
credits. They're in the credits of Ahsoka. That's all I mean.
Okay, good. And basically what happens is that Ezra uses the Purgle whales that because they can jump through hyperspace. So he traps Thrawn in a ship with himself and the Purgle whales drift them off to space. So that's why finding Thrawn means finding Ezra. And just right off the bat, though, in this series, like Lothal looked exactly like Lothal from Rebels. Like that runway, I mean, you saw it in the trailer, just in the series, like, oh my freaking God, it looks exactly the same, as well as where like the communication tower that Sabine is now staying in. Again, it looks exactly like it does from Rebels, and this is why I love Dave Filoni. He's very good with details. If you watch Clone Wars, for example, Anakin and Grievous never meet at all, just to keep the continuity of that one throwaway line in Revenge of the Sith. Like, that is how good Dave Filoni is with details. And in Rebels, it's no in Ahsoka, it's no exception. There's one thing we'll kind of get into later where I do have a bit of criticism of not keeping perfect continuity, but we'll get into that towards the end of this topic. But just what you think of like just the overall like set design of like the fall?
Oh, yeah. I 100% agree with what all you were saying. I mean, because Dave Filoni started on that Clone Wars movie in 2008, continued with the series that went on 7 seasons. They did the revival of the final season, I think, and then went on to Rebels. And then, of course, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and all that. So you can, for me, I'm excited to have somebody like him being behind the creative team of this show, with this character who is like, I would say is probably his favorite character, right? It's his character he created and has built up and has now become one of the greatest Jedi in this universe, right? I am no Jedi. She's no Jedi.
Yeah,
right?
which I will say the opening crawl got that wrong in the opening, is that she's not a Jedi. She left the Jedi Order as a Padawan. She was about to be named Jedi Knight, but she turned it down.
Yes.
So
I do think though that I do think that I can kind of see probably why they said that, because it seems like she really is, and how she's taking Sabine under her. She's accepting her, even though she's not in the Jedi Order, right? Officially, she is accepting that role as a Jedi Master. So I can kind of see why it's explained that way for people who don't know that history and that backstory. But I will agree with you. Yeah, if you don't know that, you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool, she's a Jedi. But we're like, as fans, we're like, no. So.
Said Jedi Order. That's all they had to say. That would have been so. Again, I'm very nitpicky with details, so stuff like that. But one thing I kind of want to say, this is another minor point, but I want to make sure this gets says. Ryder Azadi's character, voiced by Clancy Brown, who we all know as Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob,
and
and Lex Luthor, right, from DC, from the DC animated universe. He voiced the character in Rebels, and it was like when I saw him for like Clancy Brown in live action playing Governor Ryder Azari, right? I can't pronounce that name. I fanboyed out like crazy. Like there's certain actors you can't replace, and there's certain ones you can't. Clancy Brown is not one you can replace. I was actually recently replaying a SpongeBob video game, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. And a lot of times Mr. Krabs for voice acting gets recast because I guess Clancy Brown doesn't always do video games. And and in that one, it just doesn't sound right having someone other than Clancy Brown voice Mr. Krabs. So my point is, why I'm talking about SpongeBob all of a sudden, is because it's how I feel if Ryder Azadi was recast. Like, no, Clancy Brown has that too distinct voice to try to recast as another actor. So when I saw him and didn't realize how much they did a good job of making him look like Ryder Azadi from the animated series. It's like, it's never going to be perfect. I mean, look at Count Dooku in Clone Wars. I mean, they're never going to look completely exactly alike, but they do a good job to make it as much as possible. And they did a really good job with Ryder Azadi's character. Like, I believe that is a live action version. If you were showing me what he looks like in live action. And just want to give a quick shout out to Retro Nerd Girl. Great stream last night. I caught most of that stream. That was a phenomenal stream. And again, just a reminder, what we're doing here is we'll talk about our thoughts on Mikey Sutton towards the end, but right now we just kind of want to honor him by doing what we always love doing with him. Talk geek shit.
Yeah, like I wonder what Mikey would have thought going back to like the design, like just seeing a loth cat. Is that how you say him?
Yeah.
So we've seen them, I think, before in like the Mandalorian and our Book of Boba Fett in the background, but now it's like close up and just seeing the attention to detail, like you were saying about all these characters or beings that existed in the animated series in live action was just really, really cool. I will be honest, when I first saw Sabine, I was kind of like thrown off because of the long hair. I was like, I don't know, that's not Sabine. I don't think I was a fan of the wig, but then seeing her later when she cuts her hair, I was like, oh, okay, that's Sabine. So I think but you were supposed to be thrown for a loop just to know that time has, passed since Rebels, obviously. So when she cuts her hair, I was like, oh, okay, that's Sabine that I knew. Those details were definitely apparent.
I guess the trailer kind of prepared me for it because I saw the trailer, we saw her with long hair, and then the trailer showed her cutting her hair later on. So I kind of knew that she was going to have her hair cut. And what up, Kingdom of Nerds?
Hey,
Thanks for
Kingdom.
stopping by. And hold on, let me just add another mod right here.
Yeah, the world of the Filoniverse in live action has just been a dream come true to see. As somebody who attributes the Filoniverse for basically reigniting my fandom of Star Wars, it's so awesome to see it on screen again in live action.
I do want to kind of address on Katara's point right here. That is one minor criticism I had, is that it's like Obi-Wan did this with Reva and the Grand Inquisitor, and now they did this with Sabine. Why is it when Qui-Gon gets stabbed with a lightsaber, it kills him, but every other Jedi, I swear, it's like the next day it's I guess Qui-Gon, it was like through his spine, where Sabine, it was more on the side. And
Yeah.
I know on your left, I forget if it's one of the, like, one side is worse than the other because of where more your arteries are. Like, I think it's your left side. So I think if you get stabbed on the right side all the way, you're more likely to come out of it. But if you get stabbed on your left side, that's what I think kills you.
Yeah, and I'm remembering right, she was stabbed on the right side, right?
Yeah, I think so. So
yeah, because
yeah.
it looks like, yeah.
And I think it's like one of those things, like, it wouldn't have bothered me so much if this wasn't the first time that this happened. But I think it's because of the Grand Inquisitor and Reva. I was kind of like, oh no, not again. But
it is. Yeah, it is kind of happening a little bit too frequently, right? All of a sudden. So I get that. But as somebody who wants to see this, like, I'll be honest, this past 3 episodes, like, Sabine has been my favorite character so far. So I am glad that she, it sucks how it was executed, but I didn't want her to die. I want to see my little Padawan go on her journey.
I just didn't want her to be in that situation at all, honestly. That was more just don't stab her to death. Just have Ahsoka coming on time. And Sabine definitely screwed up, though. Like, I mean, I'm sorry. When she took that holocron out, I'm like, they're going to lose it. The bad guys are going to show up. They're going to take it. And
those Mandalorians, you know how they are.
the possible second Mandalorian Jedi perp. Because there was only, because in Mandalorian season 2.5, I almost called it a show that it's supposed to be, but wasn't. But in Mandalorian season 2.5, the armor says there's only that one person who was both Mandalorian and Jedi. So Sabine could be the second one. So, what's funny though? Sabine took a lot of effort. They made a lot of effort to, like, get Sabine at that ceremony. I mean, my God, they actually had police show up and, like, practically try to arrest her just to make her come to a ceremony. I'm like, damn, it's nice you're honoring her, but
yeah, she's she's got that, like, Han Solo, like, type of she doesn't like authority, she makes her own rules. And I did love that scene where she just, like, does the standoff and charges right towards that ship and then fakes them out and swerves. But she's becoming my favorite character. She wasn't in the show, and I was thinking back, and I was like, I liked her, but it wasn't really her story. She was a supporting character, and I liked how she's kind of become in the forefront of this.
I just want to say Carter Hall, or Carter, not Carter Hall, Carter. Real quick, technically speaking, we don't know if it was the lightsaber that killed him or if it was the fact that he fell a bunch of stories down down that shaft. I mean, well, also too, Darth Maul. Don't forget, Darth Maul was sliced in half and survived.
Yeah, it's true. The rules are kind of fast and loose in Star Wars, as we can see. I don't know if that's going to be the same in Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, but we'll see. We'll see.
What actress that I don't know? Like, so I know you can't get every single Clone War, like every single voice actor in live action, because not everyone looks their part. And no offense to the new actress, I think the new actress who does Hera does a phenomenal job. But I do wish for continuity they got the same voice actress from Rebels just to kind of keep that continuity going a little bit more. But I still think the new actress does a really good job of portraying Hera as like the one who's trying to keep Sabine and Ahsoka together. You know when you have two friends fighting and you're like the guy in the middle to try to mend fences. That's what it felt like. What Hera was being the whole time. It's like I'm friends with both of you two. I need you two to get along, but also because she knows the mission. She knows they need to find Thrawn, they need to find Ezra, and they can't have time for any bullshit. Hera's like, no bullshit.
Yeah. I was actually reading a article, I think today or yesterday, that Hera, I'll be honest, like that's the one character that at first few episodes I was kind of like not feeling out of everyone. I was like, but I read an interview where she's basically, I forget, this character is older. She's gone through a lot. She's a mother to Jason. So she kind of has that perspective of being the motherly figure in this conflict between Ahsoka and Sabine. And so seeing her, she's still a general and she's still a badass and she's still, gonna get her time to squabble, but she's also trying to be that maternal instinct character. So I kind of was thrown, I guess, at first because Hera was different in Rebels, but time has passed, just like Ahsoka's different, so is she. So I'm liking her a little bit more in episode 3, but we'll get there soon. But she's trying to mend that relationship, and that drama is like I'm into it. I'm like, okay, I like this little squabbling that they had in the first 2 episodes, Ahsoka, and seeing her I guess it's episode 3, but seeing them train, that was kind of cool too, but we'll get there soon.
Yeah. And one thing though we do kind of see in episode 2 though is when Ahsoka and Hera go to that one planet and they see that factory, and you see how and again, I hate this because I hate that they're trying to promote this non-sequel trilogy that does not exist, but they keep on insisting, but they keep showing how the first I'm just gonna say it, how the First Order rises. It makes a lot more sense now, seeing it's the remnants of the Empire. You have all these people so loyal to the Empire, and you saw it, and you see this in Mandalorian. Why like keeping Imperials in these high-ranking positions is risky because a lot of them still have their allegiance, and with the Empire and with this factory, it's like the same thing. It's all of a sudden that they're like, hail the Empire, and Ahsoka and Hera, badass as they fight, and but it just kind of shows why this was an issue and how the Empire rises. And I do like that at least because look, as much as I would love this, as I keep saying, the sequel trilogy is non-canon and it shouldn't be canon. Disney's not going to, and it's actually something Mikey Sutton himself said in a chat, is that it sets a bad precedent to remove something from canon because of reception. You just have to build better material around it, which is what it seems like Ahsoka is doing, at least trying to make that part make sense. And it makes more sense right there. Right? So
Yeah, and that's one of the best things about the show. I was going to actually mention, you stole the words right out of my mouth, Dad. We're on the same wavelength. Like, that's what I love about all these live action Filoniverse shows, is they are planting the seeds for us to see how the Empire was, or the New Order was able to come back in the sequel trilogy. And Ahsoka and, everyone's trying to tell them, these government officials, and the New Republic, like, hey, this is not, they're swearing a loyalty to us, but they're saying for the Empire, that doesn't sound like they're loyal to us after all. So it's just kind of funny how George Lucas pulled from our real life history and put it into this fantasy world to try to make us wake up. Like Padme says, this in Revenge of the Sith, this is how democracy dies. Democracy dies with thunderous applause. That's kind of what was happening in our world before and continues to happen. So it's funny how we can see things from our real world reflected in this entertainment. And I think that's what Mikey kind of liked about it too, is like it's pulling from real life.
Exactly. And Star Wars shows the issues with, again, I don't want to get too, I'll kind of be very neutral when I say issues with our government, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on. I don't really care which side you're on, honestly, but it shows how how issues with our government, and you see that reflected a lot in Star Wars. And I think that's very, I like seeing that. And yeah, and I agree with Sox. I love seeing Chopper. Again, Dave Filoni voices Chopper. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Dave. And
okay.
So
he has the same kind of journey as Ahsoka. I hated Chopper. When I first saw him in Rebels, I was like, you little sassy droid, get out of here. And now he's one of my favorite droids.
Apparently, I guess they showed the translated text where Chopper was going to drop that ship on millions of people, and I'm like, that is such a Chopper thing to say, though. Like, Chopper would totally do that. And
that back and forth with Ahsoka was like, I don't know. No, I'm sorry, Hera. Syndulla. Just hearing him and seeing him, his little mannerisms, I was like, I love him. I'm so glad. I want more of him. That's my only complaint about the show. More Chopper. Give him his own spinoff.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more Chopper, and yeah, I totally understand, because there are a lot of references. And another thing I loved about the first two episodes were the bad guys, and one Ray, I think his name is Ray Parker, the one who is no longer with us.
Ray Stevenson. Yeah. Punisher.
Yeah, so
he's actually the Punisher.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he was in the last Punisher movie. I know him as Beowulf, the animated a movie with Angelina Jolie. But I think, Mikey, Punisher Warzone from 2008. I think Mikey had even mentioned that. So that's how I was reminded about it. And he was in Thor, the first Thor in 2011. RRR recently, To Kill an Irishman, in Rome. So his character was awesome. What'd you think of Balin's skull?
I loved him. Such a badass character. And I just want to say real quick before we get more into that, thank you, Catherine, for stopping by. Your brother was an amazing man, and we're happy to do this stream to honor him. And let me just real quick. I wish they wouldn't put the Adam mod and the Hide on this channel right near each other, because I'm so worried I'm going to accidentally ban Mikey's sister from the show. It's like, nope, want to do the exact opposite. But
we want y'all to be part of this, conversation. We're trying to, we're talking about geeky stuff, but we're trying to tie it back to Mikey, because he meant so much to us. And we know that he would want us to continue, these type of shows. He was a big fan of all this content. So he would drop in and, give us some little bombs or little tidbits about his life. And it was always a joy to get that surprise when you saw Mikey Sutton in the chat. We would all freak out. We're like, hey, Mikey. So thank you for joining us, Catherine. We're really here to promote the GoFundMe for you guys during this difficult time. And we just want to celebrate how much Mikey meant to us and share that with you guys.
Exactly. And we're always happy that Mikey's family's stopping by just anytime. And again, like either your daughters or your nieces, you are a mod on this channel, so now you have authority you are free from getting banned by anyone, and you can ban any asshole who comes in, because that's the internet for you, that's YouTube, that's
Your family. Your family.
and actually hold on, let me see. I had a comment that see, this is actually what I liked about Balin's character, is that little things like it was like that quote he said, how it'd be tragic to kill Ahsoka. She's one of the last remaining Jedi. It's like it shows that this is what I like about him. It's like he doesn't seem like he's really an all evil villain. It seems like he's a bit of a gray area, which it makes it sad that we're not going to see this character past season 1. I mean, unless they recast, but recasting to me just doesn't always work. Sometimes it's not. I'm sorry, it doesn't always work to just recast someone like that. And I feel like Ray Stevenson just brings something to the character that I really like. He plays again. I think the term was gray Jedi. I think because like his lightsabers are orange, not red, so they're not Jedi or Sith. They're
Okay. Interesting. I didn't really. Honestly, now I need to go back because I loved his opening scene where he's like, in that hallway, just in the music, that the piano added to the music. Yes, we loved, just talking about all this geeky stuff. His magazine was Geekosity magazine, so he was always willing to just jump in and be part of this conversation. So we want to continue that with you guys, share that passion that he had for art and entertainment. But yeah, Balin was just such a menacing character, right? I wonder what Mikey thought of him.
I think Mikey definitely would have liked this character. I don't know if he saw Ahsoka's episodes 1 and 2. I think, but because I know he got really busy.
Yeah,
but
busy man.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know. I mean, I only knew it was him because, like, before he died, when he died, they announced that he was on Ahsoka, and that's so I didn't know. But one thing I'll say about his character in the beginning is that if you're gonna warn people, if you at least could show him your Jedi before you kill them all. That's the only thing. It's like if you want to avoid having to kill people saying "let us pass," I'm like, you could just like cut off his hand. I'm sure that'd be enough to let before you kill them. You don't have to like jump to killing them. Just cut off their hand saying, we're actually Jedi. Believe us. That's all you need to do. Or of course we're
I was looking at the page. Apparently Bayland was in Rebels. Did you know this?
No, I did not.
He's credited. Well, I just had the Ray Stevenson's page up, and it said that he was in Rebels.
Damn. See, there's a lot of like smaller characters in this movie.
Yeah.
In the series. Like there's also like Ezra's cadet friend is also in this series too. Like it was like another blink and you miss a cameo.
Oh, he was a different character. Okay, he wasn't Balin. Okay. He was
okay.
He played a different character. Gar Saxon in Clone Wars and Rebels. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. I was just freaking out. I was like, wait, this character was in Rebels? But he was a menacing figure.
Very, very menacing figure. And just, again, he has that moral gray area where he doesn't necessarily want to kill people, but does what needs to be done. And I love the witch that they're working for, the Dathomir, right? Which, basically, for those of you who don't know, Dathomir is basically Darth Maul's home planet. The men are all these ugly spike creatures, and the women are all witches. And, she's just like another kind of mysterious figure that you don't exactly know. Like, they're trying to look for Thrawn. They all want to, like, their whole end game is finding Thrawn, finding the map to find Thrawn, because I'll put it like this. If anyone can make me believe that the Empire rose to the First Order, Thrawn is the only one who could make that believable. And Thrawn, well said. We all love Mikey, and again, anyone to any of Mikey's family is always welcome in any of our streams. Mine, Skywalkers, El Necrons, Zod Riders, Trey's, Sil Abdul's, Josh's. We all love to have you guys. So
We're gonna
please
have a
stop by anytime.
we're gonna have a memorial segment at the end of this show, so we fight back any potential tears that might be coming.
Exactly, because it'd be too awkward to have tears and then go, so Ahsoka, so
Right.
what's this witch's plan? Like, again, I forgot that she was in Mandalorian. She was in the backdoor pilot for Ahsoka.
Oh, she was. Wow.
Yeah.
The Night Sister. Yes, she was. I totally didn't realize that till you said that.
Especially because she was the one who's like, where can I find Grand Admiral Thrawn? And that's where Ahsoka follows up on that lead to find the holocron when she on that deserted planet. So, because they didn't reveal she was a Night Sister yet. They just found out, but they revealed that.
Yes.
Anytime.
He means
anytime.
He means a lot to us, and we didn't know how to honor him, but when you invited me to bat Dan to this, I was like, you know what, he would want us to keep talking about the stuff that he loved, and all this entertainment stuff was something that he created a whole company and a comic book, out of. So, hi Jane, thank you so much for showing up.
Is she another one of Mikey's relatives?
I would assume so. She said her brother. I know Mikey had a lot of sisters, so we didn't know what to do. We're just trying to be here for the community that Mikey helped cultivate, because he loved the community so much, and we loved him back. So we're just trying to honor him as best we know how, and that's keep the conversation going, but also while tying it back to him.
Oh, thank you for clarifying, Slacks. Good, because I already made her a mod on the channel. So
thanks, Jane, for being here.
We always appreciate all you guys being here. And so again, he had three sisters: Beth, Jane, Kathy. Okay.
Yes,
which
I
we
remember
got
that from the tweet that was shared. Yeah.
So I'll try my best not to mix you guys up.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder with speaking of.
All right. Thanks for clarifying, Monique. You guys are family. Thanks for being here.
And again, it's kind of maybe a weird way to transition, but with the sisters, the Night Sisters, you wonder what they're gonna like. Again, you just wonder what their end goal is once they find Thrawn. Are they just gonna follow his lead? Are they going to? Because one thing that's interesting with Star Wars is that people who are physically more powerful aren't necessarily more powerful. Look at Tarkin in A New Hope. He tells Vader to stop choking the dude, and Vader listens. I mean, even when I was a kid, I was like, wait, why doesn't Vader just respond by choking him? But because the Empire respects chain of command, they recognize that maybe the most powerful person isn't necessarily the best leader, and that's just so. Oh, what up, Brogu?
Hi, Brogu. Thanks for being here. Appropriate that we're on a Star Wars topic.
Yeah, exactly. And the show, which I guess it's actually Ahsoka was the one who gave Grogu. The one who told the viewers Grogu's name.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ahsoka who told.
Yep, that's true. In The Mandalorian.
And so again, I don't really have too much to say about. The Night Sister in these first two episodes. There's not too much to say, but
they were basically instrumental in resurrecting Darth Maul, the Night Sisters of Dathomir. So Darth Maul, a species, is Dathomirian, and so the Night Sisters are witches who resurrected him after his body helped resurrect him. He held himself together, right? And then with mechanical, blah, 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 machinery, la, la, la. It's a long thing. But then they were integral in helping his brother, Darth Maul's brother. So I wonder if the Night Sisters are trying to, do something to either elevate, Thrawn, or even bring back, like a Darth Vader or somebody like that. They've done stuff like that before, so.
They're not both so fresh. And it's really interesting how they're doing this master apprentice, because you have that female, I forget her name, the blonde haired.
Yeah, I had it up. Her name. So the Night Sister is Morgan Elsbeth, and then the apprentice of Balin is Shin Hati.
Shin Hati. Just another kind of like interesting character. Like, there's not too much to really say about her other than I feel like we're going to learn a lot more about her character.
Yeah, I feel like she's going to parallel with Sabine, right? It's kind of set up like that. Like we're going to have Sabine's journey of becoming a Padawan and maybe being force sensitive, but then by being challenged by this Shin Hati, dark force user. I love the dark side, by the way. I think that's why I loved Balin's entrance. I can't lie. I think I would be a Sith. I'm an emotional person, so.
I say the Sith are the good guys. I've always said the Sith are the good guys. The Jedi are the ones who are evil. That's what I feel.
Sith are the cooler ones, right?
Which as Corey said, Obi-Wan gave up. And Trey, are you in the chat right now? Are you in the chat still? Because I'm just telling you, Trey, the Jedi are the ones who are bad. So, yeah,
not everything's black and white. Right?
Yeah, so Mikey's family, these are the kind of weird conversations we have sometimes on these shows. It's
little tangents, but Mikey loved those nonetheless, right?
Exactly. Now, I'm kind of curious about, we'll kind of get more into speculation on his character in the episode 3, but there's the one that masked Jedi, that masked person working for them. He's like another character where they just give just enough with him that you're kind of curious who he is. And I kind of want, and I'll get into my personal theory when we get to the episode 3 topic, but just another character who I thought was kind of interesting in this. Do you have, I guess, again, not too much to say about him, but I am kind of intrigued and just.
It did kind of, just the design kind of made me think of course, an Inquisitor, but also I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a helmet of like a Knight of Ren. So I was just kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
I seriously have to say that? Why are you bringing that stuff in here?
Aww. I bet he loved and cherished those moments. I know I did as a kid. When my mom, she had no interest in comic books or anything like that. But when I wanted to go, she sucked it up and she's like, this is what my son wanted. So to have a family that supported his love of this type of stuff, that's awesome. You guys are the superheroes who made him who he was. He's a reflection of you guys.
Just to say, when I said why'd you have to bring that in here, I want to clarify. I was talking to Josh when he brought up sequel trilogy content, and he brought up that Star Wars content in the Ahsoka. I just want to kind of make that clarification because I said that, I realized I had this comment pulled up, and I wanted to clarify.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and so that'll be kind of interesting, but. Ahsoka herself, I love that opening act when she's fighting all those droid thingies and then she has to escape from the self-destruct. Like, you can tell why she is the Jedi who survived Order 66.
Just her cool little entrance, like how
Jedi.
She puts her dual lightsabers, with the Force and makes a little hole. Like, I was just like, oh, this is cool. There was a moment in episode 3 where I was like, Ahsoka's just so cool. But I love that too. She really is one of my favorite Jedi characters, and you can tell that Filoni thinks so as well. I think Mikey saw that as well. Like, that's why he was excited for the show, because he could tell that the creators loved this character and were going to showcase that badassery that she was capable of.
Exactly, and she, again, in this series, is a badass, and I love her chemistry with the droid. Hung was his name. I'm so bad with him. Hung Yang. Trey would kill me because I gave him such a hard time for not remembering Alderaan, and I'm forgetting all these names. And
there's a lot. I have a list up just because I was like, oh, what are the names? Han Yang. You're right. David Tennant.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
He's Hopper, right?
No, he's Han Yang, the training droid.
No, I mean the actor. He plays David Tennant. He plays Hopper in Stranger Things.
No. David Tennant is Purple Man from Jessica Jones, Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Get
I know
so
him
many
as
different
Kilgrave.
so many different names. Okay, that guy. I was
Yeah.
But again, I just love how he's all like following protocol, how it's like built into him, and how Ahsoka clashes. It's like, we don't need to follow protocol. If you were closer with the explosion, you would have saved me. And he's like, nope, I did. I'm following protocol.
Mm-hmm. He's got his little, the droids are always funny. I'm liking him as well. He's no Chopper yet, but he's definitely got some personality that I appreciated.
Well, he's kind of the opposite of Chopper because he's more of a Chopper's like a rule breaker, and this guy's more of a rule follower.
Mm-hmm. And this character was in Clone Wars, actually, as well.
Yeah, I remember. I kind of remember that they were in the library, right? That's where he.
Mm-hmm. Because he crafts lightsabers, helps crafts the younglings' lightsabers.
And that's what I love is, again, he brings all these little Easter eggs, even people like you or me who might not necessarily recognize every character, because Dave Filoni's attentive to detail, except for one thing. They had that scene in Ahsoka that's supposed to mimic the end scene of Rebels. They have Ahsoka tap on the mural painting, the one that looks exactly like the animated series one, with the character designs, which I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But she taps on her with the two fingers like she does in Rebels in the finale. But my issue is in Ahsoka, she doesn't put her helmet on, and Ahsoka's attire is black. In Rebels, she puts her helmet on, and Ahsoka's attire is white. It's like, if you're gonna try to say that's the same scene, I wish she would have tried to get more detail there. Or maybe they'll go back in Rebels and they'll reanimate that for all reruns. They're like, okay, we're gonna reanimate it to fit the.
Yeah.
Oh
yep.
yeah.
Yep. Sucks. We're gonna get there for sure. I don't know. I actually don't know if that was. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know if that was just like a. Was it intention to be the same scene, or was I just kind of took it as like it was happening again, like rhyming, kind of like George Lucas said.
See, that's what I think too. It's just, I don't know. It's like, I wish they made it a little more different or a little more the same. It's like, I think because they like did it in such like an in between where people are debating that it could be the same scene. It's like, I don't know. It's like one of those things. Either make it like all in or all out. So I don't know. But overall, I really love the first two episodes, and I think it's so funny because I knew the fandom menace, as I call it, the crybabies, the ones who hate on everything that's Disney Star Wars, just because it has the Disney label on it. That's the only reason that they hate these two episodes. I'm like,
oh really? I just watched them recently, so haven't known the conversation. Is there backlash from some fans about it?
I looked at certain comments that I'm curious about, people saying, and there are some comments that are kind of hating on it, and certain people, I won't name names, like the people who are fandom menace, who I'm like, I knew you were gonna hate this because it had Disney's label. But overall, I love the first two episodes. I think they're great, and overall, I kind of rank these episodes as a 9.418938 out of 10. So I guess, would you rank the first two episodes together?
I'll be honest. So I have like this weird, like, I don't want to mean this as an insult, but like I think after seeing Disney's Star Wars, what I once had a very high standard for Star Wars, mine is kind of, because I've seen what Disney, how they've treated it, and in my opinion, not had a focused plan on the movies. My expectation and my threshold is kind of lowered in a sense. So I go into any new Star Wars and I just know that I'm just gonna have fun with it, essentially. So I used to hold Star Wars to like this standard, and unfortunately after Disney Star Wars, I'm just kind of like, I lowered my expectations. So for me, I enjoyed it. I would probably say the first 2 episodes, I would probably give it like, I'd say 8.9. I actually really liked the 3rd episode a little bit more.
Okay, well, so again, this is where we're going to say spoiler light, because again, this episode just came out this week, and I know people have had a lot on their mind, so I understand that people haven't caught up yet. So there'll be minor spoilers because, I mean, put it like this: if it's in the trailer, we'll talk. Like if they show the scene in the trailer, we'll talk about the fact that they had the scene in the episode. Because I always say trailers are fair game to spoil stuff from. But one thing, and I'll kind of start with the end, is again, oh my freaking god, Ray Stevens' character. I know you said the name earlier.
Baylan Skoll.
Balin. He had like one line at the end, and it was such the way he's like, I mean, okay, he said find them.
Yeah.
Who cares? That's not. It just the way he like delivers that, it's just so badass. It's just.
It's like a zoom in, and the way he's standing. He just looks cool. Like he's just a cool character. I don't even know who this person is, right? But he's badass.
And yeah, a little backwards, but hey, that's what we do. But one thing I loved is we're talking about the New Republic kind of failing, and you see that a lot more in this series and this is the scene where Hera has her meeting with Mon Mothma, and let's just say it doesn't go well. She doesn't get what it doesn't go well, and you see why the Empire is. You see how the First Order happened more and more in that conversation.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the last topic. But yeah, there as Hera and I think all of them, Ahsoka and Sabine, are talking, right? They're just like, we were there, like we're telling you what we saw, and they're just so pompous and just like, no, they're loyal, la la la, and they're allowing it to happen. So it's just interesting to see how these characters, like, they're trying to do the right thing and call out this broken system, and government officials don't want to listen and just keep things the way they are, and it's going to lead to their eventual downfall. But that's what I'm enjoying, is seeing how it happened, because we heard it happened, and I think a lot of people were thrown in the loop for the sequel trilogy. So I'm loving that Dave Filoni is using these shows to plant a lot of seeds that will fill in the gaps.
Exactly. And for better or for worse, this series, I mean, the sequel trilogy happened, so they're doing the best they can to fill in those gaps for it to make sense. But I love the opening scene when Ahsoka's trying to train Sabine, and how Sabine just sucks at it, as Hung Ying even says, is that just flat out tells her that she's a terrible candidate, that she's the worst choice to be a Jedi. And she said that in episode 2, and you see that more in episode 3. And I just love Ahsoka's like, someone who's supposed to be somewhat hard on her apprentice. Even for her, it's like, why are you saying that? Like, even Ahsoka has a limit.
Well, for me, I don't know how you felt or how much knowledge I was one of my biggest, I'm a fan of Knights of the Old Republic video game. And Darth Revan is one of my favorite characters. So we know from the expanded universe, like Mandalorians and Jedi, they're not simpatico. They don't get along, right? So in my mind, when he says that line about Sabine, I think it's taking a lot of that history and projecting that on Sabine. Oh, you're a Mandalorian, so you can't be a Jedi. You're not a candidate. So that's how I took it. I don't know how you. Thanks, Brogu.
And thank you for reminding me, is that I forgot we changed topics. So technically, since it's technically a different topic, is that yes, please guys, again, if you haven't, donate to Mikey Sutton, help his family out, show how much he meant to us. Even if it's just $1, that's $1 that goes to the family. We got 20 people in the chat. That's $20 if everyone donates at least $1. So,
or even just share if you can't give anything right now. Greatly appreciate it.
Exactly. Share it to someone who can. So, but sorry, were you asking me again? You asked me a question right before.
About how. I lost my train of thought.
Jedi's. We were talking about Jedi and Mandalorians aren't simpatico. And
oh yeah, so Hung Yang, I felt like he was bringing out that history beef between Jedis and Mandalorians and projecting that onto Sabine. That's how I felt. But I know that story, you know, the mythic war between Mandalorians and Jedi. That's what I assumed they were referring to.
Exactly. That's exactly what they were referring. And I like that. I like that because he's a droid and he thinks logically. And that's exactly what a droid would do, is that he would think logically. So logic is telling him that they that this won't work. And I don't know, like if she's like, this is what I'm kind of curious about. I'm wondering if Sabine was ever, if she really showed Sabine to be forced, because she was moving that cup. So I'm wondering, because like there was nothing in Rebels that showed Sabine having any Jedi potential whatsoever. This was something that they added to Ahsoka. So what I'm kind of curious about is like, she must have some force sensitivity that Ahsoka detected. Because why would she just randomly have her move a cup? Because I know they say the Force lives in all of us, but not everyone has the ability to use the Force. Not everyone has the ability to, you know, choke you like I'm trying to do to you right now.
Well, I think that we're seeing that slowly. You gotta, when you're a Padawan, you gotta submit and to authority. And as we see, at the beginning, Sabine does not like authority, and how she was being roped up to be part of that ceremony. She didn't want to be there. So I think we're seeing that Ahsoka sees it. It's capable, but first Sabine has to let go of that stubbornness, that old, rebellious attitude that she has, in order to learn how to fully embrace her force sensitivity. That's how I took it.
You know what? What you said just made me remember. Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka, Sabine worked for the Empire before Rebels. Like that's like part of her history they established in Rebels. So basically, what I'm thinking is that like could be part of her bad experience submitting to authority, because she did submit to authority in her history established. She worked for the Empire. She submitted to authority right there. So I think submitting to any kind of authority would be hard for her.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? That's her carried trauma that she has. So she's wary of doing that with Ahsoka after Ahsoka walked away from her training in the gap between Rebels and the show. But we're seeing those slowly be mended. So I think we're going to see some Force activity soon.
And I love the way that, and again, certain points where where Ahsoka learns to let Sabine use her strength in a certain chase scene that was happening, where Ahsoka eventually was like, Sabine, you're good at this, do this. And I really love that, is that like Ahsoka's still having Sabine embrace what she's good at, not just focusing completely on what she's bad at. And again, this is where I kind of say spoiler alert, so trying to not get into the spoilers. Aren't they supposed to have mini-chlorians technically?
Midi-chlorians, yeah.
Midi-chlorians. I always saw that when I was a kid, I thought it was pronounced mini-chlorians. That's actually how I thought they pronounced it. And it's like ingrained in my head, so I still sometimes say mini-chlorians. No, it's midi-chlorians.
Yeah, midi-chlorians. We love that, don't we, guys?
But yeah, so I see why, and I really love that scene. And so hold on, I want to look up this character's name. So I kind of want to go into my theory about who I think. Do they say his name?
I'm looking at the cast list and I don't see.
So I'm talking about the mask guy, the one who, because they had him talk and they had his voice disguised. And this is a theory. You know who I think it is? I think it's Ezra.
Just the lightsaber alone would give you that idea, right? It's literally, in my opinion, it looks just like Ezra. So
plus technically Sabine has Ezra's current lightsaber, but Ezra but his old one, that the whole gun lightsaber combo. And Ezra was tempted by the dark side with Darth Maul, so there is a history of that. And the only reason people are trying to debunk this theory, which isn't, to me, this doesn't really hold too much water, is that Ezra's with Thrawn. That's the last time we saw them together. Ezra's with Thrawn, so if Thrawn's missing, Ezra has to be missing too. This is what people need to remember. Yes, it's logical that they would be together, but a lot has happened between Rebels and Ahsoka. there are millions of points where Ezra could have been separated. For all we know, Ezra got on a Purgo right after dropping Thrawn off and was like, "See ya, Thrawn."
True.
So yeah, Ezra Bridger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Ezra. I think because they're taking the time to hide his character. I mean, we know Ezra's going to be in the series. They did not cast an actor to play a hologram. A new actor to play a hologram. No, they didn't. There's no way.
And one of the things about Thrawn is, for us that know this character who hasn't been introduced on the show yet, he's very methodical, right? He's a strategist. That's what his highlight. He's not a physical combatant per se, although we do see him fighting Ezra physically at the end of Rebels. But he can get into your mind and really, like, he knows more about you than you know about yourself. So I wonder if there was, maybe a temptation and that led Ezra, like you said, Darth Maul saw that he had potential to cross over to the dark side. So maybe Thrawn actually was successful in that, but I don't know. That's just the first guess that I have. It might be totally somebody different, because what they're telling us is that Ezra and Thrawn are together. So, but it would kind of throw everyone for a loop if it's like Ezra's been here and they're like, wait, well, if Ezra's here, where's Thrawn? So,
and again, I didn't mean to spoil this, but since I already did, they find Purgle in this episode. So just saying. Yeah, Merrick. Okay, Merrick. Thank you. That is our theory. That Merrick is Ezra Bridger. That is our theory, or at least my theory, and it seems like Josh kind of agrees with. So,
and he has the lightsaber even kind of turns into like an Inquisitor type lightsaber, right? And we know Ezra fought a ton of Inquisitors in Rebels, so that's just naturally when I saw the lightsaber in the hilt, and I was like, oh, that would be amazing.
By Sam Ryder, the guy who also voices Darth Maul in Rebels and Clone Wars, and technically Solo as well.
You're talking about you're talking about Starkiller?
Yes, and I think he's voiced by Sam. I haven't played the games, but I think it's Sam Ryder who plays him.
Sam Witwer.
Whitner. Okay.
Whitner.
And yeah, that does sound like. I mean, Mikey has so many scoops, I can't keep track of them all, honestly.
That would be amazing if he shows up in this show, like Starkiller. I loved the Force Unleashed. It was actually the Force Unleashed video games. Sox is correct. Sox knows his stuff when it comes to Mikey Scoop, so I wouldn't question Sox.
Okay, I will not. And one thing I really hope that we see Thrawn soon. I hope they don't. One thing I'm kind of worried with Ahsoka right now, and again, okay, yeah, Thrawn was not in this episode. Again, spoiler light. I don't think saying someone's not in it is a big spoiler. I hope that I'm worried that they're going to do what Hawkeye did with Kingpin, where it's like they keep doing this. Disney does this stupid thing where they put off showing their main big bad that we all want to see till the last episode. I hope they do not do that with Thrawn. I hope they introduce Thrawn soon because I don't want to wait the whole season and then see Thrawn at not until the very end. Like, I'm hoping the next episode we see Thrawn.
Well, these Disney Plus shows there's been a certain format where like the fourth episode you get something major that happens. So I kind of feel like something is going to happen pretty soon because this is episode 3. So I do think we'll probably see him more than we think we will. That's just my own guess.
And I hope you're right, Josh. I really hope you're right. And one thing I'll kind of say is that episode 3, even though it was kind of a filler episode, it was a really good filler episode, I thought. Like, because you saw more of the training with Sabine and Hera, or Sabine and Ahsoka. You saw you saw a lot of development for them working together. You saw Hera with her struggle with the New Republic politics. And you saw, and again, I won't spoil this one, but you saw another Rebels character in that right after that scene. So
yeah, it was cool to see that character. I was like, I understood that reference.
Yeah, which if you have not, again, another one, if you have not seen Rebels, but overall, again, I can't talk too much about episode 3. I mean, because it's like one of those episodes where not a lot actually happens, but what does happen is really good. It's a shorter episode.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you take out credits, it's 30 minutes. Basically, they train, there's a chase scene, and
I just felt like it was moving the story forward. That's why I liked it so much. Thanks, Jane, for being here.
we really appreciate it. Anytime, any way we can honor Mikey, we're happy to do it. And again, stay till the end, or honestly, I'm gonna after sometime either tomorrow after the stream, I'm going to timestamp everything. So there'll be like if you need again for time's sake, if you need to just skip till the end at a certain point, just so you know that option will be there. We would also love to have you the whole time too, but these streams go on quite a while, so
There
I
will be
understand.
a segment, yeah.
I just understand why non people on YouTube may not have as big of an attention span because we still got two more topics, and I think one of them will be pretty short, honestly. Before we get to the Ahsoka, or before we get to he really was. He was a very gentle person.
He was very genuine, and we could all sense that in who he was and his actions.
Yes, exactly. You were always welcome on any Soul Nation, Mikey verse, and I don't know if I should speak for them, but I will anyways. The Battalion Trey's own, like Trey's network too.
Yeah.
You're definitely. I'm sure Trey will not mind me saying that.
And for all the family who was watching Sox Bulletin, who was comment was just up there. In my opinion, he's Mikey's #1 cheerleader. This man is just loved Mikey so much, and just shout out to Sox for championing the man that we loved and for coming up with #MikeyVerse, because it is a universe and we are all a part of it. And thank you guys to the family who is here, because we are all part of the Mikeyverse, and you are the reason the Mikeyverse exists, because you made Mikey who he is. Thank y'all. And the GoFundMe description is in the link of this video.
And pinned in the chat, and pinned in the anytime Socks. Anytime. But overall, though, kind of to wrap up episode 3, because again, I don't think there's a lot to say. I hope we see Thrawn. I hope we see Hayden Christensen soon too. I know he's in it.
After Obi-Wan, I was like, all right, I can't wait for him to show up in Ahsoka. So
I mean, they literally recorded his voice is in the trailer. New dialogue was recorded, and they confirmed that he recorded new dialogue. I just hope we see him as a Force ghost. I kind of want to see where Ahsoka and Anakin reconcile, because last time they saw each other, Darth Vader tried to kill her, and what I kind of wonder is what's Ahsoka going to think of Anakin, because in Mandalorian season 2.5, also known as Book of Boba Fett, just to clarify, Ahsoka referred to herself as a friend of the family. And it feels kind of weird that she would refer to herself that way if she didn't really forgive Anakin. I'm just kind of curious. Well, I feel Ahsoka would forgive Anakin personally. What about you?
Well, I mean, just the way I kind of view it is, it's hard to distinguish, but like Obi-Wan says in the original Star Wars movie, he considers Anakin to be dead because Anakin died on that, on that day when he was burned to death, and he was resurrected as Darth Vader. So in Obi-Wan's, according to the first Star Wars movie, they considered them two different people. And when you see Anakin show up again in Return of the Jedi, it is our Anakin, the good Anakin. It's not Darth Vader, so it's technically, I think they view it as two different people. So I do think that Ahsoka forgives her master, Anakin Skywalker, but he's right now, he turned into Darth Vader, which is I think she views as a separate person, not in the
Even Darth Vader said in Rebels, Anakin Skywalker was weak. I destroyed him.
Right.
And Ahsoka's like, I will avenge his death.
Yep, exactly. That's how I just kind of viewed it. But, there's also that struggle to try to bring out that old Anakin. And let's be honest, he does. The old Anakin comes back and is brought back to life in that moment where he saves his son. And I wonder if Mikey, I don't know if the family members can confirm, but I wonder if Mikey saw Return of the Jedi in theaters. I'm sure he did. I would imagine that he would have made a way to see that on screen. But Obi-Wan was misunderstood.
Obi-Wan gave up. I'm sorry. It's Obi-Wan's fault that Anakin turned to the dark side. Because if Obi-Wan did not give up on Anakin, and I think that if he did not sneak onto the ship, I think Padme could have reached out to him. I feel Padme would have reached out to Anakin if Obi-Wan had not sneaked up on the ship.
You're probably right. You're right. You're
Back
probably
Super
right.
Bowl, Corey. Exactly.
Well, we'll never know, right? We'll never know.
Yep. And as I said, Super Bowl Corey, you're right about everything except for leaving your damn Christmas lights on. You do not. Like, if I come to your house, I'm personally taking them all down. Just telling you right now. Heck, I may go to Wyoming right now just to take your decorations down. No, see, Anakin and Dooku were innocent. They were the good guys in this. You find that out.
Still up.
So I guess, do you have any hope? Like, and there's also Zeb. I hope we see Zeb in this series too.
Yes, we haven't seen him since Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
So
and that's same voice actor they got for Mandalorian, so from Rebels. So
he's gotta be there. They haven't even mentioned him. Now that you say that, they haven't even mentioned him, have they?
Not yet.
Yeah, so he's gotta show up.
So what do you say, and what would you rank this episode as?
I have a feeling most people would probably disagree with me. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe just I just watched it and hasn't like sunk in, but I just watched it as I told you right before the stream. I would give it like a 9.4. I really liked it just because I felt like we were on a journey with all these characters. I was like, okay, now we're going. Like, now the story's ramping up. We know that there's, this machine being built that is trying to find Thrawn and leading to like cosmic other galaxies. We might be having, some kind of like multiverse. We know that technically time travel does exist in Rebels lore canon. So I don't know. It's just, for me, it was just kind of like the potential of this episode was what really got me hyped and why my score is a lot higher than the first two episodes.
I think for me, I'd give this probably a 9.5839 out of 10. I think it was another really great episode. I really enjoyed it. It was a short, but and a lot of filler, but it really showed the dynamic, established a much needed dynamic of all these characters. So,
and I try to like I said, my standards of Star Wars. He did see it. It was church movies, comics, and came out. Oh, that's awesome. That gives me so much joy to know that he saw that Return of the Jedi, that redemption moment on the big screen. God, that's amazing. And I think that, I just think about him being in this conversation. He is here, but I would just love to see Mikey's name show up and just kind of surprise us like he would always do. But having the family here to share these little tidbits about him means so much to us. So thank y'all for sharing that with us. That brings me so much joy to know that he saw that culmination of this epic tale.
I'm really glad. And I want to kind of share that same sentiment. We love learning more about Mikey Sutton, so we really appreciate it. And I'm glad he saw it. I'm glad he saw it on the big screen too, especially before George Lucas put that stupid no. I go back. I don't know. I still like it silent better than him saying no, killing the Emperor. But
and like what I was saying earlier is like my threshold for Star Wars has kind of lowered. Star Wars was this epic thing.
Nope, sucks.
But I kind of try to take this perspective of like maybe Mikey Sutton, someone, who grew up watching Star Wars, he's probably just amazed to see these properties still around after all these years, So at a certain point, yeah, we can gripe and we can nitpick, and we're going to do that as fans. But also we got to step back and be like, we are living in an abundance of riches time right now. There's almost too much, right? There's too much content. So for someone like Mikey who loves Star Wars so much, I'm sure he's probably just like amazed that Star Wars still exists and is on a streaming, show. So that's why I think my standards for Star Wars have kind of like lowered. And why I gave this show and these episodes such a higher ranking is just because it's Star Wars, it should be, the level of quality should be here. But it's just a fun ride. It's something to get away from it all and just to kind of enjoy entertainment and bring people together to talk about this nerdy, geeky stuff. So, all right, awesome. Well,
Are you
happy
sure?
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
It's September. How is it starts in September? I have a fruit fly, so you might see me swatting and trying to kill it at certain points. But that is no. I don't want to say anything bad about a whole country, especially where Mikey Sutton was born, but that's just messed up starting Christmas in September. No.
Well, hey, they don't do it like we as Americans. We think everything revolves around our culture, but a lot of people do it differently. So that's awesome to know. I didn't know that. So that's I'd love to hear. Mikey championed his Filipino culture so much. So if there's anything that y'all would like to share about Filipino culture, please do, because I would like to know about that. But it is kind of wild to think, right? Because it's September here.
Yeah, exactly. It's September, and it's like not even Halloween anywhere yet. But this is a Mikey
August.
Sutton Memorial. Well, like tomorrow's. Oh, right. You're right. It's the 31st. But it's a Mikey Sutton Memorial stream, so I won't be too hard on the Philippines for doing something like starting Christmas early. I'll respect that, but and no, Obi-Wan is the villain. Obi-Wan is the whole reason that the Sith became bad. It's Obi-Wan's fault for giving up on Anakin. Obi-Wan's fault. Bad Obi-Wan. And I guess you have anything left to say kind of about Ahsoka, what you hope to see, what you thought of this episode?
No, I just think, like I said earlier, episode 4, I feel like there's gonna be, the way that this episode ends, like we mentioned earlier, it's setting up something, a big showdown to happen. And so hopefully there's some reveals, and I'm excited. I'm just along for the ride with this. Like I said, I literally watched 1 and 2 yesterday after you had invited me to do this, and then episode 3 today. So I'm just kind of like trying to keep that perspective of like, what Mikey think of this? What would he think? And so I'm just kind of enjoying it for what it is and try not to nitpick it too much.
And you had some really good points what you said right there. And hey, Mikey Sutton even defended Mandalorian season 3.
Mm-hmm.
He defended episode 6, the Jack Black episode even.
Hey, one of the reasons I bonded, I think Mikey started like paying attention to me, is because I was probably one of the only few, I don't know how people felt, but I really like She-Hulk because I have a comic book perspective. So when I see Marvel adapting comic books accurately, I love that. And so I remember in one of Skywalker the Jedi's chat, I was like, I loved She-Hulk, Mikey, and he was like, I did too, Josh. Like, that's awesome that you like She-Hulk. But so I just try to keep that perspective. Like, what would Mikey think of this?
And that's a great perspective. That's a really good perspective to think about. And I kind of want to pull this comment up because I think this actually perfectly transitions to our next topic. Is Batman the Animated Series is on Netflix starting September 26th. So again, I don't want to rush anything right now because I know now is kind of a sensitive time for the cool table, but eventually, I'm saying eventually when you start to feel like doing stuff like that again, Batman the Animated Series would be a good one. But the reason why I'm using this as a transition is there's another person's death I kind of want to, or another person I kind of want to honor. And actually, I think she died the same day as Mikey Sutton. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure
exactly. The date.
Yeah, Harley Quinn, the original voice actor.
Yeah, because I remember because Sil was doing his stream, and that's when people were confirming that Arleen Sorkin died, and then Zodwriter did his stream, and then that's when we got the news about Mikey. But yeah, that's just, I just kind of want to bring this because I'm Bat Dan. I'm Bat Dan's thoughts, and I love Batman the Animated Series, and this was a great actress. She was the one who brought Harley Quinn to life. If it wasn't for her, like people think of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, but this is the one who really brought this character to life. Because the thing about Harley Quinn is she was just meant to be a hench girl in the episode Joker's Favor. She was not meant to be this big character that she's become. And I don't think we would have had her without Arleen Sorkin. And I'll be honest, because she was in the Arkham game. She was actually Harley Quinn in Arkham Asylum, which is why I was so upset when she wasn't in Arkham City, because they already got her for Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that was her
It's
last
like,
role. It's Arkham Asylum.
what up, Skywalker?
Skywalker.
You missed you missed some of our conversations earlier about how Obi-Wan gave up and how it's all his fault. We did talk about that.
For the family members who are watching from Mikey, Skywalker the Jedi is somebody who just, like many of us, just loved and deeply respected Mikey. They had a nightly show called Night Shift that they would do together. I'm sure you guys know of him, or maybe at least heard his name. But he did a memorial stream that really touched my heart. I know it probably touched all of our hearts, where he was just showing genuine emotion and love for the man that Mikey was and how he inspired him. So shout out to Skywalker the Jedi for being so close with Mikey, championing him, and giving us all a community platform to kind of grieve and process the emotions that we were having. It was a lot of tears, a lot of wonderful memories were said. So thank you, Skywalker, for doing that, staying strong for all of us, because we know that it deeply affected you, and it's never going to go away. But as we honor Mikey, it gets a little bit easier, right? You just kind of think about the good memories and smile, knowing that Mikey's watching us all right now.
Man, you got me all teared up, and okay, I guess that makes sense. I guess America does that too, somewhat. So,
Marketing,
but and that's why I just wanted to really kind of just bring this up with Arleen Sorkin, because she was such a great actress with Harley Quinn. She brought her to life in Joker's Favor. Mad Love, I think it was.
Her origin.
Yes, which shows. Okay, so I actually want to pull this up. So, wait, Kmart had concessions? Oh, I guess because they're Sears, right?
Yep.
They're a sister company of Sears. I didn't know that they had concessions.
Kmart was so cool for all those of us who actually got to go to a Kmart. They had like everything. It was always a mess. I don't know what y'all's experience was, but Kmart was, you could never find anything. I had to dig. But I remember going to the toy aisles and just seeing so much cool crap everywhere. But I remember getting ices and popcorn, so I'm sure they had candy apples as well. And bringing it back to Arleen Sorkin, Skywalker the Jedi, he's also doing fundraiser charities for AFSP, which is an important cause. And so Arleen Sorkin was in Batman the Animated Series. That's going on Netflix. We have shirts that were designed by Mikey's artist, Noel Leon Flores, that support that charity. So Skywalker the Jedi has just been done so much, and I'm sure we will continue to do a lot more memorials to honor Mikey, because he's such a stand-up guy. So thanks, Skywalker, for being here during this Harley Quinn, Batman the Animated Series, DC Animated Universe topic.
I love good Jello and a toy. Yep, that sounds like me as a kid too. I would love Jello and a toy.
The red joy.
It's my personal favorite, but I still like red too. But like it, and I kind of want to bring this point up too, is that, see, I do like Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. Like when she took over as Harley Quinn, she to me is a mix of Arleen Sorkin's Harley Quinn and Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because she also voiced Timmy Turner too. So that's how.
Well, she's not the first, but when Batman the Animated Series was revamped, I love Batgirl, so she was my Batgirl. Oh, yeah. So to know that she was taking over for Arleen, I was kind of like, at first I felt weird about it, but she's done a great job, and she's a great person too. So shout out to Tara Strong for continuing the Harley Quinn legacy. Hey,
exactly. She does a very good job too, and I just, I think about Mark Hamill and like everyone in the Batman the Animated Series cast. I mean, they lost Kevin Conroy and Arleen Sorkin within a year. Yeah. It's just.
I saw a meme actually, and in a weird, like, morbid way, like I saw a meme of like a Kevin Conroy's Batman holding Arleen Sorkin's Harley Quinn hand, and I thought about, Mikey is meeting these people, guys. He's interacting with these amazing people who he loved so much. He respected all these, pop culture actors and industry creators. So it does give me a little bit of joy just to know that, you know, Mikey is meeting some of these people who inspired him and he loves so much. So I miss you, Mikey.
Yeah. And we'll say this throughout and we'll have more at the end. And so, yeah, I really wanted to just kind of give a special shout out to Arleen Sorkin, just thanking her for everything she's done. Thank you for bringing this amazing character to life. And 67, like Kevin Conroy, like Mikey Sutton, way too soon. Way too. I'm not saying their ages were exactly alike, but the fact that it was too soon is more I'm saying is like just way too soon. I guess, do you have anything you will kind
I
of want to
wanted to
say?
just shout out my favorite, I think, appearance of her from the original Batman the Animated Series was Harley's Holiday, which was an episode where no Joker appeared, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Where,
he was mentioned once, but it was when she got rehabilitated and
but that kind of
almost
showcased Arlene's charismaticness as that character because she holds the whole episode. It's she's the she's the antagonist the entire episode to Batman and Robin, and throws him for a loop and goes toe to toe and fights Batman. Batman gets the better of her, but she squabbles with him and she sings. She actually showcases. I think it's in that. No, I'm sorry.
that was another episode.
Yeah,
Like, there's
that
the
one.
mob boss
Harley,
who was in that episode who
Moxie. Yeah.
referenced Moxie because it was Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce that, but
Harley Quinn.
yes.
Yeah, that's right. But that showcased her just talents as a person, a singer, where she sings "Say That We're Sweethearts Again" to distract Moxie while Batman and Robin get freed. But Harley's Holiday and Harley Quinn are two great episodes. Do you have a favorite Harley Quinn, Arleen Sorkin episode?
I like Mad Love. I think that's probably one of my favorite episodes with Arleen Sorkin, and I liked her honestly in Return of the Joker
Yes, right.
because
That flashback
and
scene.
and what I love about that, not just the flashback scene, but what's a fun fact is Paul Dini was told to kill off Harley Quinn, but he didn't want to kill off his character, kind of like a Dave Filoni's attachment with Ahsoka. Paul Dini didn't want to kill off Harley Quinn. So remember, so they had Arleen Sorkin play that old lady that was clearly Harley Quinn in the of like Dee Dee's nieces, like the two confusing the Joker gang. They were in the Joker gang called the Jokers, and
Yeah,
he was surprised they kept that scene in there.
So
But
they in the director's cut, which is my favorite, she's in a grandma colored dress, but in the censored version, she's in black and red because they really wanted people to know, like, oh, Harley Quinn didn't die because we can't kill people in a cartoon. So I did like that little tidbit for like kids who are watching, they would know, oh, that's Harley Quinn. But if you watch the uncut version, the director's cut, she's kind of just a grandma, but you can tell it's Arleen Sorkin for fans.
yes, they also call her Nana Harley too. So,
Oh,
but
shut up,
yeah,
Nana Harley.
and I kind of agree with you. I like this. I like the uncensored version better. To me, that's the real version. And besides, they did kill the Joker off at least. But what I liked about that for Harley though was that in Harley's Holiday, I felt so bad that she tried to redeem herself, and there's hope that she'll redeem herself, but future episodes she doesn't because she goes bad. But in Batman Beyond, it shows that she did have a life, that she did break away from Joker and start her own life, and I really thought that was a nice little detail because I like when Harley Quinn. What I love about the Harley Quinn's character, she's not all good or all bad. I'm not a fan of the Harley Quinn series right now. I kind of stopped watching after season 3, but I've seen clips and I'm not totally happy where they are right now. But I do like Harley not being all good or all bad, and that's why she's such a complex character. And I really hope we see the Ayer cuts because I want to see that Harley Quinn.
Agreed. The actual animated series Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, it's exactly. That's actually a good point. Only WB treated that version much better than they did the Snyder cuts.
That's true. And that's the Snyder cut is what converted Mikey into one of us, right? So
If you're a born again Snyder cultist, as he says. So yeah, and again, I just want to kind of go over quickly, just say a few words about Arleen Sorkin, go over her character as Harley Quinn. Just thank you everything, Arleen Sorkin. You will be missed.
and we're jealous that you're with Mikey right now, Arlene. And Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, but just want to just say real quick, don't we'll see Mikey in our own time eventually. But I do envy that you at least do get to see Mikey right now. And now, so now there's this article. See, one of Mikey's favorite hobbies lately, one of his favorite things was the clown on James Gunn. And there's this article that came out about asking where the fans went. I forget, it was Hollywood Reporter. I forget hold on, let me just look up this. I should have actually probably written some of this stuff out in hindsight, but it was written by, hold on, Richard Newby. It's just another, like, that article was so bad. It was basically, it was the biggest WB James Gunn show website. It's like, now they shouldn't course correct. I'm like, you shouldn't have course corrected with Zack Snyder. And see, they're asking where the DC fans are. Here's the thing. This is what the article doesn't address. WB's mistreatment of the DC fans. They announced Henry Cavill was back. They announced that. In my mind, they committed themselves to that. Whatever new DC head comes along afterwards, they have to commit to that in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's just like, hey, we're going to do one movie and that's it, fine. But you have to commit to that. But that disrespect for fans, no. Fans have no reason to. This is what I think people need to remember. Fans are the paying customers. We are the consumer, not. If we are not interested in a product, we are not obligated to see it. And James Gunn announcing a reboot right before 4 movies, and I guess 4 because Blue Beetle, I guess, is in the DCU. They flip-flopped on that like crazy, but why are fans going to be interested in a movie? Like, the movies were meant to lead somewhere, and they don't. And actually, you know what? Keep talking for a bit. I'm going to pull a Mikey Sutton and get some water.
All right. No, y'all, I think one thing that we have to remember, and one thing I loved about Mikey Sutton, is he was a fan. He was a big deal, creator, business owner, executive producer of, some high profile projects coming forward. But he's also a fan first. And that's why he loved interacting with this community. But he also was trying to cut through the Hollywood narratives that they tried to push on us. And that article that dropped as a DC fan, it's just my opinion. We know how this works. Like Mikey kind of told us or has said this, like it's all like they're mouthpieces for the studios. They're trying to influence the public's opinions. And so it's just propaganda, in my opinion. It's just like, and that's one reason why I restricted Mikey Sutton for having his own print, his online magazine that was going to be printed. And I hope that happens soon because I know Geekosity will continue. But it was so apparent knowing Mikey's example of like, Spidergate, just that was a narrative going on back then that Mikey was like, no, I'm going to tell the fans what's really happening because he did that for a friend, And that article just kind of was just propaganda, pro James Gunn propaganda, in my opinion. So I think Mikey thought the same.
I agree, Sox. And again, just a reminder to donate. Don't forget to donate if you have not. Again, even if just donating $1, even if just sharing it to someone else, that's fine. But it's, again, help out Mikey's family, help out someone who meant so much to us.
Yep. Mikey was like, no, I'm going to be a troublemaker and I'm going to disrupt these narratives that are going on. And, I think he saw through yeah, exactly. Right. Rock Talks. He's the red pill for DC fans. And I think that's why we loved him, respected him, because he said what we were all thinking. Like, these headlines, we live in a society now. We live in a society where headlines are what people are going to take. So when people see, where did the DC fans go? They're going to be like, oh, they're probably not even going to read the article. They're just going to think, oh, DC properties are dead. It's like, well, there's nuance and there's reasons and there's history why things are happening the way they are. And you're not really being genuine by saying half truths. Tell the whole truth. You really want to tell the truth.
And this is what Mikey made a good point with James Gunn, is that James Gunn gives us what he wants, not what the fans want. The reason why Marvel is successful is because they give the fans what they want. Fans want Charlie Cox, they gave Charlie Cox. Whereas DC fans are saying what they want, we'll give you money for this, and they don't do it. And here's the thing. I still think DC, I mean, even though David Zaslav ended up turning out to be a loser, I still think fans should have given him a chance when he came in, because a lot of them didn't. And we don't know if everyone had united and supported Black Adam, we could have had a different version. We don't know. We don't really know 100%, but I think it's very likely The Rock would have had more power and we could have gotten Henry Cavill at least. Even if Gunn was head, The Rock would have at least been obligated to have his stuff, even if it exists as Elseworlds, like the Matt Reeves treatment. But and then I guess there's articles of tweets coming out that James Gunn was criticizing both the Batman 1989 and the Dark Knight trilogy. I guess that's what I think it was Sin Havoc or someone was saying this earlier.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
And what you think about that?
I mean, it just makes sense. Like, I just, I will say, like, Mikey recently saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and he really did like that movie. But he saw James Gunn as a filmmaker that was more suitable for the Marvel properties. And in Mikey's opinion, he's just not a candidate that should be the head. He can, do a movie here and there. Some people like the Suicide Squad. I didn't. But I don't think Mikey liked it either, from what I remember.
Oh, no, he hated it.
Yeah, he loved James Gunn's Guardians movies, but he was truthful, and he said, no, when I saw your DC movie, I don't think you're right. And that was where... Yeah.
Sorry, I just got distracted. I didn't realize he like that. See, this
James
is the
Gunn,
issue.
He's an attention whore, y'all. He just wants to be noticed. So that's why he's going to say stuff like this.
So was this a recent tweet, or was this tweets that were pulled up?
These were years ago from his official Facebook. But you got to remember, I think, like, as Mikey kind of cut through, like, James Gunn he's all about himself. And he needed that attention. He loves when people talk about him and bring this. He loves that we're probably talking about him right now. Sometimes, honestly, guys, when I see his name in tweets that I agree with, I don't even want to click it, because I don't even want to, like, make the algorithm show the name Gunn or James Gunn, just because I'm like, I know that's what he wants. And I think Mikey realized that too. He respected him as a filmmaker. But for me, the Suicide Squad was my last straw. I was like, I'm not going to pay for a James Gunn movie, probably. Because I loved the Suicide Squad. It's tattooed. The first one is tattooed on my arm. And when I saw what he did with those characters in that franchise, he nullified it. He destroyed that franchise. That's what he did. And coincidentally, the MCU has the Thunderbolts coming out, which is their version of the Suicide Squad. So take that for what it is. But Mikey, he was honest. He understood what DC Comics was. It was epic storytelling. It's grandiose. It's just something other. Marvel has great things that are happening over there, and James Gunn's suitable for that type of storytelling with the Guardians. To run this other company, so far it's just not been handled as an executive well. We'll see what happens with his movies, but yeah, I just think this is this article was a way for them to basically soften the headlines of, like, the inevitable underperformance of Superman Legacy. Because they're like, look, the DC brand was already dead before James Gunn, so it's not his fault when his movie doesn't do as well. That's what I think. And I'm sure probably Mikey would agree with that. Probably
100%.
Knowing how the news industry and these entertainment sites work.
But you know what Mikey did support, though? What Mikey did have hope for? Skywalker's brilliant idea was to allow James, not to campaign for James Gunn to get fired, not to campaign for James Gunn to lose his job, for his DC universe to fail, but for us to get our own separate DC on Netflix. To just get the conclusion. Maybe some spinoffs too, but at least the conclusion to the story we love on Netflix, as in Elseworlds, where WBD doesn't have to spend money. They get paid, and then it doesn't interfere with what James Gunn is doing, and then us Snyder fans can get the conclusion to the story that we all love. And Mikey was such a supporter of that campaign. His artist, Noel Leon Flores, drew these great shirts, and right here, unfortunately, Josh, you're in a better position for your camera than I am mine, but you get the there you go.
That's the same art from Dreamwalker too. Same artist. So and it's going to a great cause. And shout out to Skywalker the Jedi, who did come up with that idea, and Mikey championed that so much and thought it was so awesome for a fan to give other fans hope with this movement. Because Mikey saw this is not, you're firing Henry Cavill, Superman, who was the pillar of this whole universe, the Snyderverse, right? So Mikey didn't want that. Mikey wanted DC to be just as good as Marvel. You know, he was a comic book fan. He was mostly, I think, a Marvel fan, but he wanted DC to succeed because he loved, you know, comic books. And I think he saw that what Skywalker the Jedi had come up with this hashtag sell Snyderverse to Netflix, sell ZSJL to Netflix hashtags. He was just so proud of his friend coming up with this idea. So by championing this cause, you know, the first priority should definitely be supporting the GoFundMe. That's our number one right now to help the family, Mikey Sutton's family right now. But we're also going to continue to champion Cell, because that's something that Mikey always spoke in support of and elevated in any way he can when he was on streams. So we will honor Mikey by continuing this campaign as well.
Exactly. And I just want to say, Bro Luke, I agree. I wish she could see Rebel Moon. And honestly, when we get, because I'm confident we will get ZSJL 2, it'll be a shame. I'll be sad that Mikey won't be able to see Zack Snyder Justice League 2 on Netflix. But look, and right now, obviously, and I'll kind of get into this at the very end, because it's a spoiler, there's a going forward topic, but I do think for now, I will say, is that is the only hope for DC right now, is Cell. Because here's the thing. I can give James Gunn stuff more of a chance if we got the proper conclusion to the story we love. I can't get invested in another DC story when the one I love right now isn't completed. Here's the difference. When Ben Affleck was replacing Christian Bale, his story was completed. When Henry Cavill was replacing Christopher Reeve, his story was completed, and no one really cared about Brandon Routh, who I guess is a continuation of Christopher Reeve, but there wasn't like any like major cliffhanger with those Superman movies. They were more of a standalone, and people didn't really care about 3 and 4 that much too. So, but the point is, again, not a major cliffhanger. The issue is that Corn Sweat, while again, he could be a great actor for Superman, he looks like Henry Cavill. I'm sure that was done intentionally. The problem is this other story is not completed. But what I love about what Skywalker's idea is that we get to see it, is that we just have to interfere. James Gunn can do his thing. We'll give his stuff more of a chance, but at least we have DC, something to be excited for with DC. And the fact that Mikey Sutton even said that Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck were all interested in it. And Sox, can you verify that? Because I know he said Henry Cavill for sure, and I think he said Gal too, and I'm pretty sure he said Affleck, but I know Henry Cavill for sure, because that was the big topic.
Well, I know, you know, Mikey was from the future, like Skywalker would say. He was basically, he would tell us stuff that's years away. So, you know, I don't doubt that it's probably had discussions. Yes, he did. And let's be honest, like, yep. Huntress, if you know Huntress, the character in DC Comics, that is a fine character. So I think I know why. But she was also a you know, ruthless, you know, badass. So I'm trying not to cuss. And I was like, I don't know how to describe her other than a BA.
You can swear on this channel as long as it's not the first 15 seconds, but there's an intro and a countdown, so that's not even a concern. But you're allowed. You can even drop an F-bomb if you want, honestly. Like, but yeah, here, Mikey, fuck. I said F-bomb, so you won't be the first one.
Mikey, he really liked that character. She was a strong woman, so, and I think that's probably why he wanted to see Rebel Moon too, right? Strong female lead.
Of course, integrity comes in right here, right at this point. At this topic is when he comes in. Perfect, perfect timing, integrity. And I have to pull this up. Yes, Cavill absolutely shot first. When Mikey brought up that scoop, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Cavill shot first.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't wait.
And I hope that we do, because I think right now with the writers and actors strike, now is the perfect time for Netflix to at least get Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and the Ayer cuts. I know that technically, I guess they still have to work out residuals because of the strike. I don't know how that all works, but here's the thing. even if they work it out, they can work out a deal with those 4 projects right away. So there's no, get that out, and yes, get the Ayer cut out. Ayer, stop simping for Gunny Poo. He doesn't care. He's not. The Ayer cut could be released right now as an Elseworlds project. You don't owe him anything. You already moved the trending event for him. You don't need to do anything else for him. In fact, Ayer, apologize to Ulsa Fresh, and then get on the Cell campaign, because that includes your content too. That includes the Ayer cut. The Ayer cut is part of the Snyderverse. It's an already filmed movie. So, exactly. I think a package deal for the Snyderverse would be the best idea. Plus, it would hype up Rebel Moon a lot more too. It would introduce a new audience to Netflix, to Zack Snyder's DC from Netflix, and it will create more hype for Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3.
Yeah. Very true.
So that's the only hope DC has right now. And yes, also Fresh, David Ayer owes you an apology. He does, because you should not go after fans who supported you. That's not right. I still want this. I still want the Ayer cut. Even if I'm mad at David Ayer for act. I did not see that. No, I'll have to check that out.
It's on YouTube. You can check John Barthol's podcast. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I saw the snippets of it, so I'm going to watch it eventually.
So, yeah, and that's kind of, again, we just have to hope for the best. We have to, again, eventually. No problem. We love telling you more about what Mikey did on this. And like, here's the thing, Mike, and we'll kind of get more into this in the Mikey Sutton topic, but he provided hope when a lot of people didn't have it.
Yeah. He would give us like tidbits about, what we know is like the Snyderverse was coming back. It was filmed, and all these DC movies that came out this year, there were cameos leading us to that direction. And so Mikey was the troublemaker, self-proclaimed troublemaker, to give us that hope. And, he did say, Ayer cut was possible. But I think the James Gunn thing threw a wrench in that, obviously. But I think it's just a matter of time before we see that. And shout out to Rock Talks, who made a beautiful memorial. The tomorrow, Sil Abdul. Shout out to Sil. He's going to be doing a memorial stream for Mikey as well. And Rock Talks designed a memorial for a photo for that event. So shout out to Rock Talks for doing that. It's awesome work.
I was gonna say, Rock Talk, you should still reach out to the Geekosity website, because I'm pretty sure Geekosity is, from my understanding, Geekosity is still continuing. So maybe not right now, maybe not right this second, but I would not. Any ideas you have, I would put those put on ice. I would put those ideas somewhere safe and bring those out later. Don't throw those away. I would, and maybe you can ask Sil his opinion on this, because he might know more about a better time. But my personal opinion, at some point, you should go to Geekosity, consider those promo ideas, and that doesn't go away. Okay, good. Just want to be sure. And Ayer cut's inevitable, but point is, DC, and I say this because that's why I love you, Integrity. You have the optimism. I love it. But, and again, I've had so many Ayer cut and Netflix topics, but that's just reality. That's the only hope for DC is Netflix, is the Cell campaign. The one that, and again, once we adjust to this new normal, again, I hope to get back to that at some point. But right now, we kind of need time. And another thing I'm kind of worried about, this will kind of be our first Mikey Sutton topic, like official Mikey Sutton. I guess technically we had this one, which, speaking of which, GoFundMe, link was in the description. I just want to, this was the one I was on. Dreamwalker. I just want to, I got these beautiful issues right here. Just let me know if you can see the cover, because I can't. Okay, I'm kind of bending over backwards. This variant one, I think Mikey said was rare, so I'm not opening this one. Beautiful artwork by Noel Leon Flores. Oh, on the thumbnail. I think Sil said issue. I mean, nothing's officially confirmed, but I'm pretty sure issue 3 will still be coming out because Mikey already did that one for the before his passing. He turned that one into Noel Leon Flores. So even if, let's say, we get nothing else to Dreamwalker, I still hope we get issue 3 to get Mikey Sutton's last legacy. And I hope there's some way, at least. It's so funny. This is kind of like, it's so funny. When I've been thinking about Dreamwalker, I have so many comparisons to the Snyderverse continuing. Like, I want it to continue, but only if Mikey Sutton's involved, even if it's like using his outline, any outlines he's already written. So I hope that there's a way that that can still continue, so at least his main story can get finished, and we get some closure with that. I know the show's still happening right now, because that's a separate entity. Still, so that's a separate entity from the comic. But I just want to bring this topic up because, guys, it's important when issue 3, when it comes out, and I'm pretty sure it is, buy it. Buy it. Show demand for it. Honor Mikey Sutton. It's the best way to honor, another really good way to honor Mikey Sutton. Show possibly his last work. We'll see. Hopefully we'll see more. It's a great series, and again, if this doesn't come to fruition anymore, at this point, I don't care. But it was the principle of the fact that he was including, both Josh and I were going to be characters in this comic book series. And it was just an honor, the fact that he thought of us that much to include us in that. He didn't have to do that, but he did that. And it's a symbol of our friendship too, we all have. And it's a symbol of, yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So
Yeah. There was so much, Mikey had, like you said, it's just the beginning, it's just getting started. And I did want to take, if you will, indulge me. Like you said, I actually just got on our Blue Beetle spoiler review. Mikey dropped that, he wanted to turn me into a character, and I was so honored to know that. And so we had planned to do a stream where he would reveal my character. And so on that stream, I wanted to, if you'll indulge me, I did want to do this. I got to order my copies that finally, I tried to order them through Second Skin Comics.
Hold on, let me just put this down. Okay.
And I did want to do this with Mikey, but I'd rather do it when the family's here. But I got my my Dreamwalker comics. I got the variant cover, which is a homage to an old DC horror comic that he really loved, and this first issue. I actually still can't find issue 2 because it sold out so fast, but I am honored to have this work of art from a friend, and it's going to be hung when I have some time. But I just wanted to unwrap that and say thank you, Mikey, for leaving us with a universe and of entertainment content that we believed in, because we believed in you. And we know that this will continue. Dreamwalker will be a legacy. We will all buy that when issue 3 comes out. I was watching Speedy's Multiverse, where Mikey revealed that issue 3 would come out on Halloween. Obviously, things might have changed, but I know that we were all planning to buy that regardless. But especially now to know that his legacy will continue, we will definitely make that a #1 bestseller as well.
100% Noel. 100. Or I called you Noel Leon Flores. I'm sure will definitely be instrumental in that too. Who, again, the artist designed these wonderful shirts. And again, guys, don't forget, donate to the GoFundMe page, share, and anything. Just help out the family. And again, I bring this up constantly also because this is a fundraiser stream and I don't have any clever way to fundraise other than just mentioning it to donate a million times. But that's now, again, now to the main topic. Mikey Sutton got me through some really dark times. When I first saw him, COVID had happened. We were in the height of the pandemic, and I was working a crappy graveyard shift job. I lost my job and I was working this crappy graveyard shift job. Mikey Sutton on Sill's channel provided hope for DC. Something at least I had something to look forward to, something to be passionate about. He provided me time of hope in a time I had none. And not just that though, through watching his content with him and Sill, through both of them, I made so many wonderful friends that I would not have known. I would not have known you, Josh. I would not have known Skywalker, Trey of the Bat Channel, Super Bowl Corey. I kind of knew Zodwriter, but I got to know him better because of Mikey Sutton. And I like Trey and Corey. I met in person last year. I met them in person when they were in Chicago, and that's a get together. I have to wait. Hold on, I just want to read his.
Oh,
I would love that.
Yeah. Because Mikey always talked. That's his passion. Was in Dreamwalker. He always dropped little tidbits on these streams.
And the fact that he did that, and I have all these wonderful friends that I know because of Mikey Sutton. In times that have been hard for me with COVID and working that graveyard shift job, it was the friends that I made through Mikey Sutton that helped me get through it. And if I ever have any struggles, just even a hard day at work, I had this stuff, all you guys to go forward to hang out with online. And it's funny, like people think that an online friend is nothing, but the thing is, you talk to them every day because you're online. You click on a button. So yes, I like to credit exactly Sill's channel with 100%. That's exactly what did Sill's channel. That's why I say Sill and Mikey Sutton, because Mikey was the co-host of that channel.
Yeah, that's how I found out about Mikey, is through Sill.
Same with me. I was
Sill
Sill's
Nation.
first subscriber. Actually,
And you
and I
were
guess
the first super chat of Skywalker, right?
yes, and I guess and we're kind of go back and forth on this a little bit. So I guess just what did Mikey mean to you?
Very similar to you. I'd mentioned this. I think you interviewed me, and I mentioned this to you. How I just kind of, I've been in this fandom actually longer than y'all probably realize. 'Cause I've been watching like Sill's channel for a while. Before I think he started working with Mikey, but I never essentially I had a partner, a long-term relationship, and that person was how I communicated about nerdy, geeky pop culture things and talked with, right? But I always loved, he didn't understand that I'm a big person, I'm a big picture person, and I always wanted to know what people were saying. Whether or not I agreed with them, I wanted to know. So that's how I got into the YouTube space. When there are properties like, DC Comics, Marvel Comics and stuff, you'd like to, I think Mikey probably liked YouTube because it felt like that old school comic book type conversation when you would go to the comic book store as a kid. And that's why he liked being around fans and championing fans. So yeah, my relationship with that person ended up ending in 2020, and I was alone and I was depressed. And I found Sil Abdul's channel and found out about Mikey. And I'll be honest, he was a character when I first started listening to him, him. But he was a self-proclaimed troublemaker, where him and Sil Abdul started Rogues Gallery, right? And then from those streams where they would try to disrupt the narrative of Hollywood and tell us stuff that they didn't want us to know, I was like, wow. I'm a long-term person, so I love that about Mikey, is that like Skywalker the Jedi would say, he was from the future. He would tell us stuff. It wasn't going to happen next day, next week, next month, maybe not even next year, but it was going to happen eventually. And you can see that. He scooped back in 2014, y'all, that the death of Superman was happening with Doomsday and Batman v Superman. He linked that post. And it's there. The evidence is there. Not only that, but I started, as I was watching from the shadows, I wasn't interacting and commenting on YouTube. I was skeptical of Mikey. I'm not going to lie. I was like, is this guy
He should be at first.
Yeah, because
give him a
anybody
chance.
can say anything. But to see, the stuff he was saying actually come to fruition, like happen, I was like, it made me a believer. So I was watching from the shadows, not really interacting in the chat with you guys, but it was weird because I felt like when I met Sil Abdul in person, I felt like I knew him and he didn't know who the heck I was. Like he was just like, was a stranger, you know? But I think that I recognized that Mikey was a fan, and that's why just listening to all his streams, I loved hearing story time. I told him this, and I had the pleasure and the joy to tell him that I was a fan, because Mikey, just for the family, if you know about his show with Sil Abdul, he would have a story time segment where he would basically introduce us. It wasn't necessarily to deal with the topic, but he would find a way for his story, which may have been raunchy at the time. His story would connect to the main topic that they were going to talk about in a really roundabout way. And so he would drop that little disturbing story and then somehow tie it back to this topic. And I appreciated, I told him this, I loved his dark humor. It made Sil Abdul's faces so memorable, and because he would be like, Mike, you can't say that on YouTube, you know, you could just kind of, he would go off camera, but Mikey didn't care. Mikey was just like, hey, this is how we're going to start the show, shock and awe. And I loved that about Mikey, how he started that show, and that's how I started learning about his personality. And on Sil Abdul's birthday stream in May, I was just randomly by chance, Sil Abdul had an open panel, and he let me on right as Mikey Sutton had just, like, I was backstage, and I guess Mikey was on the show, and then I got in right after. And I'll be honest, I was wearing sunglasses on that stream, but I was freaking out. I was trying to be cool, but I was like, oh my God, Mikey's on here too. And I got to tell Mikey that when I interviewed him. And he was just a rarity in this space, I would say. You know, he was not only a fan, but he was an entrepreneur. He was somebody who saw that this community needed hope and wanted to share that with us, that hope, but also that positivity, by evidenced in what you said, Bat Dan. He saw people, and he wanted to, as his career continued to skyrocket and booking these deals, these television shows, becoming an executive producer, creating Geekosity, creating Dreamwalker, getting a book deal, you know, a publishing deal. He wanted to bring his friends along with him. And that's a testament to the type of person I would say Mikey was. He wasn't just like a YouTuber, I would say. He got joy from interacting with us. He was reinvigorated. If you go to Skywalker the Jedi's Memorial stream, when Sil Abdul, Leon, Necron, Good Austin, I think, was on there, you know, Mikey wanted to bring his friends
Austin
along.
wasn't on that one.
What's that?
Austin wasn't on that one. It was just the other three cool table and so.
Just Good Austin had his own separate stream. That's right.
Yes.
But he wanted to share his success with his friends. And that's a testament to who Mikey was. He meant a lot, y'all. Bat Dan, I'm really, really grateful to you. You were the first person to tell me to look at Sil's Twitter. And I was here. I was literally right here, just facing like this. And I was eating right here on my island. And I literally looked at my phone, and it felt like right here, time stopped when I read of Mikey's passing. And I'm shocked still. I really am. It still doesn't feel, I wrote, like, I didn't know what to say. I didn't, you know, it just didn't feel real. And I didn't know by writing something if it was going to make it more real. But then I thought about the family, and I was like, oh my God, like, I can't imagine what they're going through. And this community was something that he loved to participate in. We loved to see him drop in and disrupt the the topics at hand. He would love to, like, throw these little bombs, like, oh, oops, I accidentally typed this. I didn't mean
Innocent.
Innocent.
He remember when I was on with El Necron, and again, I'll still kind of, even though he's not with us anymore, I'm still going to keep the secret because I still want to kind of protect his sources. but he told me something on All Necron stream when I had it, or no, when I had All Necron on my stream, I should say. And he told All Necron, and he dropped it to me, and I was so excited. And then even in our Blue Beetle stream, he didn't. I mean, everything he dropped to us was public. He put it in the chat, but still, the fact that he was doing that, just
Yeah. He
was
told
a
me
cool.
he wanted to make me a superhero, and I was like, "What, Mike?" Like, that's just so, he was watching us in our streams even when we didn't know. Even if he didn't announce that he was, he was
He was a
profiling.
lurker.
He was a lurker, but he was trying to fill us out and see what our strengths and our, flaws are, because we're human, and he understood that. But he saw that as something that would be an awesome addition to his hashtag Mikeyverse that Socks Bulletins coined. And just an honor, like extreme honor. Like, I'm a comic book fan, and just to know that somebody in Hollywood was a fan and was going to make sure that the property that he created was for fans. Like, the man created a comic book. Like, that's might not mean much to most people, but to me, that's amazing. I would have loved to have created my own comic book. Mikey wasn't going to just sit down and let people talk crap about him. He was going to be like, you know what? I don't like what these people are doing with this comic book franchise. I'm going to make my own. And I think this community, as DC, stuff was not up to par, he was going to give us at least something that we could be entertained by and have faith in and want to support.
When he told me about that news, when I was being included in the TV series, that was such a great memory for me, because I remember he wanted to have me on backstage after the member stream, but I couldn't make it because I had band practice, and real life commitments come first, and he really wanted me to know. So I remember it was actually Zod Writer brought me on his show, and I felt kind of guilty because this was actually his late night Q&A with Neil Sevens, and then Zod Writer brought me on just so Mikey could tell me the news. Because Mikey loved those live reactions. Like Mikey's family, if you're in the chat or watching this on replay, Mikey loved live reactions to this stuff. And when Mikey told me the news he messaged me on Facebook during during Zod's stream, and I freaked out. I fanboyed like crazy. And the fact that he really wanted me to know, he really wanted to tell me, he really wanted that live stage reaction from me. And it was such a great memory. And I think he made my birthday special too. I was doing a birthday stream this year, and I was thinking what I wanted to do for my birthday stream. I'm like, you know what? Let's interview Mikey Sutton for my birthday. I thought that was like the best thing I could do for my birthday. That was like something that really felt special. And he said he would stay on for about an hour. That's what he had time for. But he stayed on for 2 hours. It was closer to 2 hours. It was like 1 hour and 58 minutes. And he really, he dropped some backstage bomb. He dropped some bombs to me, like that Ben Affleck may not be done if the Flash succeeded, which that didn't end up happening, unfortunately. But still, though, he made that birthday special. He gave me some, it was still a good birthday. I went to the Shed Aquarium earlier, but he added a lot to it, and it was so. And I'm so thankful for him for that. And when he included me in the ARC chat and the Facebook group, it's just a way for me to feel more included in things. And really, it helped me get to know Mikey a lot more. And I would occasionally even DM him privately for certain things too. And just I loved getting to know him more and more over these past few years. And oh yeah, I'm actually gonna talk about this too. When Mikey told this story earlier this month, this gross corn story, I had to work at I was volunteering for something called Corn Fest the next day. And my job was buttering corn for 3 hours. I had to butter corn. And I had to not gag thinking of I ended up making it fine. I got so busy that was
the origin of Korn's band name, right? That was what it was.
Yeah. And That was, but he was a genuinely nice person. He could have really let this go to his head. I mean, this guy was a freaking TV producer, and it actually was on with the writers and actors strike not affecting Dreamwalker at all, other than giving it less competition. Mikey could have really let the ego go to him, but he didn't. He still humbled himself. He still viewed us all as his friends. He didn't have to do that. He could have. I mean, the thing is, when I wanted him for my birthday stream, there was no questions. He made it work in his busy schedule. He made my birthday stream work, and I am forever thankful for him for that. Something that's so small and insignificant. And just providing me all this hope with DC through these past 3 years. And even though he's gone right now, we still have Soul Nation. We still have the Mikeyverse. As Corey brought up the point, we have each other. There's you, Josh, and Super Bowl Corey, and Neil Sevens, and Socks, and Raw Talks, and Integrity, and like Mikey's family. If you're still watching this, your uncle, your brother, your son, whatever, whoever is watching this, he was important to us. He was very important to us. And he will still be important to us, because without him, I wouldn't know all you people. Every guest I've had on my channel, I've gotten to know through Mikey, or have known better because of Mikey Sutton. My YouTube channel, I'm gonna be honest, being involved in Soul Nation in the Mikeyverse is what motivated me to do my own YouTube channel. Bat Dance Thoughts. I had an idea of Bat Dance Thoughts for a while, but being with Soul Nation, getting to know Soul Nation a lot better, got me on Zod Writer's Late Night Q&A, where Super Bowl Corey asked me the question, when is Bat Dan going to do his own show? But being involved in that Soul Nation Mikeyverse community, that's what got me into Bat Dan's Thoughts. I owe a lot to Mikey Sutton. I owe so much to Mikey Sutton, and thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you guys. His memory will live on.
We'll make sure of that. We're gonna honor him as much as we can at all times. Like, I like what Sock said. Whenever we have to pop off the streams and say we got to do a Mikey Sutton, because he'd always be like, "I'll be right back. I gotta go get some water." Which reminds me, you gotta stay hydrated in honor of Mikey. But yeah, aren't y'all's birthdays? Y'all both Geminis. Y'all birthdays are right next to each other, right?
Yeah, it's Sills, Mikey's, Trey's, and myself. We're all kind of together, and
a testament. I'm right after y'all. I was supposed to be a Gemini. I'm a Cancer, but I have a lot of Gemini tendencies. So I think that's what I appreciated and I saw in Mikey was the way his mind works. And that stream, I watched your channel, and I could tell that he was so honored just to be on it with you. And you were probably like, "No, I'm honored that you want to be," because that's how I felt when he wanted to be on I'm not a YouTuber. I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I wanted to share in this with y'all after Full Circle, because I guess Mikey thought it was so cool that I dressed up and got to go to this event. And he wanted to, after he saw my stream with Sky, he was like, "Oh, I want to go on your channel." So I don't know how you felt, but when he asked to be on my YouTube channel, which had 12 subscribers before, when I did my stream with Sky, I'm sorry, I had 6. And then I did the stream with Sky and it went to 12. And then after Mikey, it went to like 40. I don't even know how many, like 40 something, 45, I think. But honored that this man saw something in us, but I think he really saw in between the lines and saw who we were as people. And he recognized how, we have gripes and we have things about entertainment that we don't like, but he is the same way. He has things that he just wanted the best for the fans. And that's why he had that magazine, Geekosity, to tell people the truth and to tell it how it was. That's why he made his own comic book, Dreamwalker, to basically put put his money where his mouth was. You know, he's like, all right, when entertainment isn't doing it for me, I'm going to make my own entertainment. And I'm going to show people how it's done. Yeah, Socks. Exactly. Right. Like and I think that's what he wanted to do that for us. As much as we were honored, he was like, I like you as the people that you are because you're fans like me. And this is a rarity. Like the man was a rarity in this space, I would think. Like
100%.
He's genuine. In Sky's tribute stream, I think Leon of the New Geeks explained Mikey as a man's man, you know? When he said something, he meant it. And he said this scoop was going to happen. He didn't try to waver and be like, oh, I never said that, like some of these scoopers do. He was like, well, things changed. We knew that the Snyderverse was coming back because it was all filmed and that was confirmed to happen. Mikey never tried to be like, oh, I never said the Snyderverse. You know, he doubled down. He's like, hey, my scoop was confirmed, you know?
Not his fault that Gunn changed everything, which is confirmed, that people choose not to hear that.
But you know, it's funny that James Gunn was threatened by Mikey.
Yeah, you know? To the point that he commented on Sills, and everyone got all this amnesia about all the times Gunn's been proven to be a liar. But
if the family doesn't know, the co-head of DC Studios, DC Comics movies, tried to go after Geekosity and Mikey Sutton because, in my opinion, they're threatened that Mikey was such a troublemaker for that studio, saying things that they didn't want to be said. And I loved and respected that about Mikey. And God, just to know that we won't be getting that from him, but it's going to live on in other means, right? Socks Bulletins, hashtag Mikeyverse, and the Good Austin's hashtag MV4E, in Mikeyverse forever. We're going to make sure that it continues. Dreamwalker will continue. Geekosity will continue. There's a TV show happening where Mikey, I know, will be tributed. And there's a lot of unknowns, and we're still kind of, taking it one day at a time. We're coping with as best we can, but right now we just got to be strong for the family that is here in the chat. Like, they're the people, the family and immediate friends of Mikey. They knew Mikey the best. We felt like we knew him, and we did in a sense, because we saw his passion, right? But they spent actual time with this person and shared his energy with him in the same space. And I'm jealous that, still Abdul and Alicia and Iron Will, they all got to meet him and share that. They shared that energy with Mikey at Emerald City Comic-Con, and he invited me to go to meet him there. There was just so much that he had planned, and we have to just keep his memory alive. So whenever we're streaming, whenever we're live, let's do what we can to honor him and be positive, because that's what Mikey was. He was a positive force in this space. He wasn't about the negativity. You can read on his Geekosity website about section. Like, he wasn't about the name calling. He wasn't about this is how it's supposed to be because I think this is how it is, and the man was just loved. There's going to be so many more memorial streams going forward. Tomorrow, I think Sil Abdul's doing one, but we're just here doing the best we can to just kind of help this community get through this difficult time of shock and sadness and mourning. And Bat Dan, just thank you. Bat Dan, for those who don't know, when we were shocked, Bat Dan had a space where some of us who did know Mikey could come and just kind of vent backstage. It wasn't live, we were just together, and you sent that to me, and I was, I was glad to have just shared some words with you and Taladia Plays and Zod Rider about how we were feeling and kind of get those emotions out, because it's not ever going to go away, the hurt, but it just gets easier, right? Day by day.
Exactly. Take everything one day at a time, and we'll definitely keep his legacy going. And another thing I have to thank Mikey for, actually, when I did that interview with him, he really loved my interview. He said it was one of the best interviews he's had, right up there with the Bat Channel. And one thing I want to, because the Bat Channel did another amazing interview with Mikey Sutton, but one thing it did is encourage me to kind of keep doing my interview shows. and I want to continue doing my interview shows and trying to find different ways to branch out with them, because I want to encourage the strength that Mikey Sutton gave me.
Yeah.
And also, there's a lot of things that we'll have coming up actually, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually hold up. I'm gonna go back to that comment you said, Socks, because that's actually gonna come up for a later, the very last topic we have, which,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm really grateful. I don't know if I told anybody this. I don't know if I told you this, Dan, but after my interview with Mikey, he wanted to do a weekly show with me. And at the time, it wasn't right for me. And I told him maybe eventually, but I regret, not immediately taking him up on that offer.
I mean, it's hard. That's life sometimes. That there are certain points you're just not able to do it at the time, and uh, it sucks. It really does. And one thing I kind of want to say, I really appreciate him really helping with the Cell campaign too, with the Cell ZSJL, Cell the Snyderverse Netflix campaign. And again, I know that seems insignificant, but we're DC fans, and he provided us hope for something when our brand was not making us happy. He helped encourage that, and he was giving us great news with the Trinity being interested, with hope for, again, I'm a huge fan of Ezra Miller despite everything, with the hope that Ezra would likely still be the Flash in that. Mikey gave me that hope. Mikey did. And I will forever and be grateful of that. And so normally when I wrap up a show, I normally like to roll out the red carpet, but I don't think it feels right to just promote channels other than this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Wednesday night / Thursday morning. Technically, the show's Zod time central, like mine and Josh's Central Time. Technically, it's Thursday because it's midnight tonight. So tomorrow morning, it's confusing when it's midnight. But the point is, at midnight, Zod will be doing his own stream for Mikey Sutton with Robert Meyer Burnett. I encourage you to check that out. I'll have to check that on replay. I still, I'm still an adult and I still have a job. My life doesn't stop for this, so I still have to have my adult responsibilities and work and all that stuff. So, but check that out. Check out Sill's stream. Check out Sill's memorial stream tomorrow. And if you haven't, check out the replay of what Austin did, of what Sky did, what Retro Nerd Girl did, what Lord of the Lumbox did. I still need to catch up on some of those stuff myself. There's a lot.
Yeah, Speedy's Multiverse also did one that I saw. Shout out to everybody who's been making these streams for Mikey, because I think it's comforting to the family to know what people meant to Mikey, and to hear that. Yeah, Super Pro. I do. I posted this on Facebook. I can't believe Mikey wanted to be my Facebook friend. Even he sent me a Facebook request, and I was like, what? And I had messages with him, and I just look at those messages, and I just honored to have interacted with somebody who had a big heart.
And check out Socks's stream too. I don't want to forget Socks. And I really want to get into what this means going forward, though. Is that here's what I'm going to make my opinion is that Zod Rider's book, Pause Not Stopped, quoting what Zack Snyder said. This is what I feel about all this, everything we had going on right now. This is what it should be. Pause, not stop. We need to take our time to grieve. We need to take our time to mourn. But eventually, I want to really start promoting the Cell hashtags again. I want to help promoting Dreamwalker again. I want to actually promoting this stuff, because here's the thing. Mikey Sutton supported the Cell hashtag with everything. And I think it's important to still, at some point, when we're ready, continue that for him. He loved Dreamwalker. This was his passion. This was his baby. And at some point, we need to do what we can, anything we can do to help to get that series to continue. Whether it's getting his outlines, whether it's getting a trusted friend. I don't know everything, how it's all gonna work exactly. I don't know what Mikey wrote, what his outlines were. I don't know. but there is a way that I'm sure there's something that we can do. Even if it's just the conclusion to the main story, even if it's spin-offs. Good night, Brogu. And Josh, just so you know.
Thank you, Nielsen. Yeah.
And here's what you guys need to know. This is hard for everyone. This is hard. One thing we need to do is remember Mikey's family. They knew him better than we did. Support the GoFundMe page. Share the link or donate, even if it's just $1. Even if it's just $1. That's one more dollar the family has. And it's really good to show how much we meant to us. And eventually, as I said, I do want to eventually get to this stuff, and we will in time. But I think all of us had great content, and I don't want to say what Mikey for sure would want, but if I had to bet money, he would want us to continue doing our content as best we can, continue exploring our great content. And that's what we... Thank you, Super Bowl Corey. It's also pinned in the chat. It's also, if you're watching a replay, it's in the description.
That's awesome that he has his own URL.
Yeah. And exactly. Mikey took care of us. Mikeyverse, MK4 or MV4E, Mikeyverse forever. Just thank you, Mikey Sutton. I mean, any final words you want to say to wrap this up?
The Good Austin, I think, was the first person to do a stream. He played a simulator game and drove to Seattle, and that was just for, everyone grieves in their own ways. And he even talked about how he was contemplating, I don't really want to it's weird to you post something and then somebody had died and then you liking it, but he just did what he could in that moment to just kind of show his love. And he gave, some family members like Vanessa were in that stream, and I think Chris maybe, one of the nephews, and they were just sharing little tidbits about Mikey. And so the family members who did join us today, thank you so much for showing up. And if you're not watching live, we dropped some little tidbits about pop culture topics that Mikey would have loved to talk to about with us. And I tried to, I think we both tried to tie it back to Mikey as much as we could. It felt kind of weird to do an entertainment thing, but that's, like you said, Mikey would have loved that because he loved doing this. I think that's why he wanted to do more nightly shows. He told Sky, I think Sil Abdul mentioned this, Mikey said he was on borrowed time because of his stroke in 2018. And by being part of this community and doing these YouTube shows and sharing passion, it galvanized him, is what Sil Abdul said. And in a way, as a community, we helped energize Mikey. And that energy, it didn't go anywhere. It is still here with us. His energy is now shared among us. So we need to protect that energy. We need to protect the Mikey Sutton legacy. We'll find out more right now from Sil Abdul about Dreamwalker. I think Noah Leon Flores and some other people, they're going to be dropping information when they figure that out. Geekosity, they did a tribute today, a beautiful tribute. And there's more streams. I think Necron's doing a stream next Thursday, I think he said. So there's going to be a lot more. This is just one that Bat Den wanted to do. Bat Den, thank you for all you did for Mikey. He talked very fondly of you when I, talked to him about this community.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he, like you said, it's weird, people, it doesn't matter if it was an internet friend, we all had plans to eventually meet Mikey, but it just transcended that.
Yeah,
he was just good, and he recognized that about you, Bat Dan. And I don't know about you, but I'm watching old clips now just to hear his voice and to hear his laugh. And it's hard sometimes, but it makes me smile too at the same time.
Shout out to Retro Nerd Girl for getting that playlist together on her channel.
Yeah,
What you said just kind of made me think about that.
that was beautiful. I watched that earlier. Retro Nerd Girl kind of went over his biography and everything in his life. And I'm honored that I was able to do that for him while he was alive and going to go through his secret origin. I'm not a YouTuber. I have 45 people in there. I want to, like Mikey, I kind of like to come on your channel, Bat Dan, and people in this community and just kind of help y'all's channel and give, you know, a commentary voice to what you guys are talking about. And because sharing it with a fan, with a fellow fan, you know, we have our gripes about these things, but we just like talking nerdy stuff. So yeah, Neo 7 tonight, Zod Rider, Robert Meyer Burnett. So I'm definitely going to check that out. And then still it's a celebration of Mikey Sutton's life, celebration of life. To the family, if you want to, Zod Rider, I think it's Zod Rider's YouTube channels tonight. And then
No, it's East Central Time, and did still have has the time? Yeah, I know that was TBA last I heard.
yeah, I think he said TBA, but let me see if it's good. It might be scheduled yet. But we're gonna do what we can. Just
Is this Zod Riders or Sills? But either way, click on it and save it in the link. And whilst Josh was looking that up, I just want to say that I will try to do another backstage conversation organized at some point this weekend. I'm not going to make myself available the whole day like I did on Sunday because most of the time I was just waiting for people and no one really came. So I'm like, I'm going to limit it to a certain amount of hours so I don't do that again. Okay, thanks for clarifying. And yes, Nightwing, we'll catch on replay because we're wrapping up right now, but still, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Nick.
And thank you. We really appreciate it. And why is okay? Here it is. I saw Mama Bear on YouTube, but not on. And G Rob.
Yes, Mikey's a legend. Mikey's a legend, y'all. I mean, the man has. So Zil Abdul said that hashtag Mikeyverse was trending in a few areas. So that's just a testament to the man had an impact in this online space. You know, he meant something to people.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks, G Rob.
And he meant a lot to us. And we'll always carry what Mikey taught us. We'll always carry the friendships that we made. Mikey's gone. The Mikeyverse is not. We'll find a way for the legacy to continue. And Zod Rider, as his book says, paused, not stopped. Are all our plans for YouTube? That's what they should be. Paused, not stopped. We have to continue this stuff for Mikey's. Not just getting Dreamwalker, getting that out for him, but continuing with, again, even something as insignificant as the Cells campaign. But it's something that Mikey encouraged, and at some point when we're ready, again, all in due time, we will continue. Again, the Mikeyverse, the Snyderverse, we'll continue those for him as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know what's really going on. I'll just kind of say for my channel, I'm probably just going to do some of my Bat Dan's Thoughts Remastered videos because that's just basically where I take an older video I did and remaster it to have my new editing that I do now. So that way I don't have to like be on camera. That's kind of way I'll do to keep the channel alive. But again, I don't know what's going on with all these other shows. And no problem. We were happy to do it. And we really appreciate Catherine, you and everyone else who stopped by of Mikey's family. We really appreciate you stopping by. It meant the world to us that you stopped by. And I was going back and forth and I wanted to end the show this way. I want to say thank you, Mikey Sutton. Thank you. But I debated if I wanted to end with my normal catchphrase. I was going back and forth whether that would feel disrespectful or not. But you know what? It's the content creator. It's who I am. And
Mikey wouldn't have any other way, I don't think.
And I kind of want to show Mikey's family my ending catchphrase. And actually, you know what, Super Bowl Corey, before I say my ending catchphrase, take chances, tell the people you love.
Yeah.
And as much as possible, I know it's hard. We'll get through this together, one day at a time. But have a bat-tastic day.
Love you, Mikey.